Sunny and 86 degrees at 3:02. Good afternoon. I'm Mark Fry. This hour's top story, a notable first court appearance for Vance Belter, who now faces state charges for shooting and killing Melissa Hortman and her husband, Mark, and shooting and wounding State Senator John Hoffman and his wife, Yvette. Our own Susie Jones joins us live with more.
Mark, Vance Belter appeared in person in a Hennepin County courtroom today where bail remains at $5 million. Now, state prosecutors want Belter to be moved to Hennepin County's jail, while his public defender wants him to remain in Sherburne County. But before the proceedings ended, Belter spoke, asking the judge some questions. Twin Cities defense attorney Joe Tamburino.
It's very rare that a defendant will just start talking to a judge. It's completely not advisable to do for any defendant. You always should go through your attorney. However, it's up to the defendant. It's his case. He has rights. He could say, I want to talk to the judge, even if his court-appointed attorney says, don't do it. They're advising not to do it.
And his next court appearance is set for September 2nd. Joe Tamburino will be joining Jason DeRusha coming up in the 4 o'clock hour. Live in the newsroom, Susie Jones, News Talk 830 WCCO.
All right, thank you, Susie. Highway 169 is back open near Shakopee this afternoon following an early morning crash that left one person dead. The State Patrol says a wrong-way driver was killed when their vehicle hit a semi-trailer, then was hit by another vehicle around 8 in the morning on Highway 69 near Fuller Street. No one inside the other two vehicles were hurt. This crash follows a serious crash yesterday afternoon that left a Minnesota State Trooper and another driver seriously injured on I-35 near 220th Street in Forest Lake. No other updates have been given on that incident. The clock is ticking for the Minnesota Twins to make a move ahead of the 5 p.m. trade deadline. General Manager Jeremy Zoll announced last week that the Twins were buyers. Manager Derek Shelton.
We have to see it. I think, as we've talked about, it takes two people to make deals, and I know Jeremy's working hard on it, and we'll kind of see how it goes over the next 36 hours.
The Twins are off tonight and open a 3-game series at Kansas City tomorrow. While the Twins won't be playing any home games this week, their home will be busy, of course, with Wednesday's concert featuring Noah Kahn, and then the Savannah Bananas baseball starting on Friday. Minnesota Twins owned marketing director Bria Prokop telling WCCO Radio's Vanita Sakar it's a full team effort to get the concert venue set up and then torn down.
We've got one day before we turn it around back to a baseball stadium for Banana Ball. And so it's really 24-hour days, day after day, kind of getting the stadium turned over.
Improvement projects are coming to more than 36 Minnesota airports thanks to a major funding boost. The Minnesota Department of Transportation today announcing $8 million in grants. MNDot's Office of Aeronautics Director Ryan Gogg says the money will help fund 57 projects at 39 airports.
One of our primary focus is on pavement improvements, so keeping the pavement safe. That is usually the highest scoring type of project that we get requests for, and they usually fare pretty well in our project selection process.
And it's 3:05, traffic and weather next.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is traffic and weather together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
And brought to you by Laguna, Minnesota. Visit buildthenorth.com. Going to find some slowing. West 94 is moved past Hemlock Lane to Weaver Lake Road. Traveling southbound 35W, some slowing through downtown Minneapolis. And then again, as you enter the area of the Crosstown Commons, South 35E, slowing Randolph to Shepherd Road. Laguna, Minnesota reminds you to slow down when you see orange cones and yellow vests all year round. They are working to improve your infrastructure and build a better Minnesota for you. So please slow down and save lives. Keep construction workers safe. Brought to you by Laguna, Minnesota. Visit buildthenorth.com. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Get your home into the comfort zone with Metro Heating and Cooling.
Call Metro Heating and Cooling for a $109 air conditioner tune-up. Find out more at metroheating.com.
Now, the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
And the weather is brought to you by Metro Heating and Cooling. Here's more on the weather from who else? Jason DeRusha.
Working on my meteorology degree over here, Mark. Thank you. Chris Schaefer sent over the forecast for tonight. We are watching for a chance of scattered showers in the overnight hours, low of 67. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy, less humid, high of 78. Wednesday, 81 is the high, so a little bit of a break after some stinking hot weather to end July. Right now in downtown Minneapolis, the current temperature is 86 and sunny on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Everything you need to know, all in one place. News Talk 830 WCCO. You're thinking about it. Jason's talking about it. There are no breaks on bold takes here. Buckle up. This is Drive Time with DeRusha. Tuned up and rolling thanks to Luther Kia of Bloomington. Now, live from Minnesota's biggest microphone, here's Jason DeRusha.
I mean, it's almost open up the windows weather, right? After July, which was so hot, no good. Welcome to Drive Time. It's Jason. Mark Fry keeping us up to date on the news. Dan is here as well. I want to start with the highways because so many of you getting ready to get in the car. Maybe you're in the car on the way home right now. Two stories over the last couple of weeks have me asking you this question. If you were in charge of our roads, and you could wave a magic wand, what highway are you fixing? What bottleneck is the worst? What design drives you crazy? 651-461-9226. I have my ideas, and it's not the highway that MNDot is asking for us to share our ideas on, which, by the way, do you really want, my idea of what to do with the highways? MNDOT is asking regular people to chime in as to what we think should be done with 694, the highway in the North Metro, because that'll be the next chunk of roadway slated for redesign. The last time we asked average Minnesotans what they thought we should do with the highway, we got innovative ideas, including what if we just filled in Interstate 94 between Minneapolis and St. Paul and planted flowers? So I'm a little skeptical about asking the randos what we should do and what highways we should fix. I have to say, I drive 694 a lot. It's not even in my top 5 in traffic nightmares in the Twin Cities, in idiotic design. Darren on X is saying that kind of Lafayette, Highway 52, 94, 35E, where all of that comes together. Yeah. Oof. In downtown St. Paul, that is a nightmare. Where if you're on 35E, or if you're on the 52 bridge, you're coming in, and then you sort of exit this little highway, go by some building that says Big Wood on it, which always makes me chuckle like a middle schooler. And then you exit by a car wash. And it's what is happening here? What are we doing? That would be high on my list. Not my number one. 651-461-9226. You're in charge. You get to fix a highway. For me, it's a no-brainer. The worst, and it's not even close. The worst is where 394 from the western suburbs dumps you into the tunnel and onto Interstate 94. And the Star Tribune had a story the other day where MNDOT basically said, too bad. We don't know what to do. We're out of fixes. We got nothing because we can't knock down the basilica. We can't. I don't know. We can't. Is there a point where, as a civilian, you're like, what do you mean we can't? Really? We can't? We can send a rocket into outer space, capture it again, and send that rocket into outer space again. You telling me we can't fix 394? It feels to me like there's got to be an option here. There's got to be an option. And that's the same stretch that Al says, 394 East to 94 East. Idiots always cutting in at the last minute. I'm one of the idiots. I've given up my effort to do this the right way, to do this the fair way, to do this the good guy way, because too many ding-dongs are zipping ahead, zipper merging at the end. And at a certain point, I've decided, am I the bad guy? Yeah. Yes. What good does it do me to do it the right way? Do I get like a medal for being a good guy who just sits in line like everybody else? No. So now, Al, I am one of the idiots. I'm sorry. I confess it. I actually feel better confessing it, Dan.
Well, I mean, I would think this would be a spot where you'd want to paraphrase noted philosopher Obi-Wan Kenobi and say, who's the more ding-dong-ish, the ding-dong or the ding-dong that follows him?
Right. Yeah.
So
It's true.
consider that.
I am the ding dong in this scenario. I'm not proud of actually, I'm lying. You know what? I am proud of myself. Are you guys ever the bad guy on the highway? And do you have that moment where you're like, you know what? Feels pretty good. Feels pretty good to cut in front of everybody. Maybe we all just need to embrace that side of us. The jackhole on the road.
Well, the big problem with that area is,
besides me,
well, I mean, and it's part of the reason you are the problem, or you are part of the problem, is that when you do, use that second to the right lane to get up ahead of everybody that's crawling along at 10 miles an hour, there are often, in fact, I would borderline say usually, large gaps either left by big trucking vehicles or by people that are on their phones and not paying attention.
Yeah.
Part of the reason that backs up is because people are even trying to do it the quote unquote right way, are being ding dongs. And there's usually gaps up there where you can get in fairly easily. And when you leave that situation, when you make it that easy for people to do that, guess what they're going to do? They're going to drive up and they're going to cut in. Sorry, but that's how it works.
Do we really want the highway authorities asking us for public input?
No, this is why I sent you that story this morning with this. What are we doing? MNDot, that's your job. Figure it out. You're supposed to be the experts. What are you asking me for? I'm just some schmuck on the road.
Don't they have to? I think they have to. This is what we do in Minnesota.
Oh.
All the stakeholders need to come around, and you sit around and look at some charts. And, I would like to know from the MNDot engineers, when is the last time that some, normie, some average schmo said something at one of these public meetings, you're like, didn't think of that. That's pretty good, Larry. I don't know. Maybe it happens. Maybe there's a good reason for this public engagement. This stretch that MNDot is asking for public input.
If Joe Bag of Donuts can figure out how to fix these freeway intersections,
yeah,
and MNDot can't, then MNDot people need to be fired.
This is the moment when I wish my father lived here in Minnesota, because my father is the kind of guy who would be sitting at like Denny's or Perkins, and he'd have the napkin out and he'd be drawing the lanes. And
see, what you got to do is
right. And I'm telling you, I bet Gary DeRusha could solve this whole traffic situation in the Twin Cities with just a couple of napkins, eating everyone's leftover food, not ordering his own food. That was the other Gary DeRusha move. That's how you know you've officially reached like peak dad status, when you've got your family of 5 or 6 out at the restaurant and you don't order because there's going to be enough leftover that you just have everybody pass their plate, and you're like the human trash compactor. So strange.
Have you caught yourself doing a little bit of that?
No.
I mean, not straight up doing it, but maybe,
I do.
Looks
think,
like Sammy's not finishing those fries.
Well, with an 18 and a 21-year-old boy, those kids.
Not a problem?
Not a problem. Public input as part of a 694 study from Brooklyn Boulevard and Brooklyn Center to Lexington Avenue and Arden Hills. I mean, I feel like I could solve or save a lot of money here, because the problem is wherever 2 roads come together. That's it. That every single problem in the Twin Cities is when at a merge point, right? Like, that's the issue. And most of our highway system is built from back in the day when we thought no one was going to want to live here. So it's a bunch of little 2-lane baby highways. And it turns out people did want to live here, and they all have cars, and they all drive around. And that's what we do. I'm asking you what highway you would fix if you were in charge. What's the worst stretch of highway? 651-461-9226. Drive time back in just a minute.
Drive Time with DeRusha is fueled by Luther Kia of Bloomington. Always online at LutherKiaofBloomington.com.
Man, I hope you had a great weekend, and I hope Minnesota pork was a part of the equation for you. It's Jason here for 3,000 family farmers. That's what Minnesota pork is. You might think it's like, it's big pork. It's not big pork. It's big people. Families all over the state working so hard to take care of their animals, take care of their property, take care of their team. And they just want you to have amazing moments as a family, as friends. And that's what Minnesota pork is there for, whether it's that rack of ribs that you fired up this weekend. Maybe it's a slow cooker loaded up with pork shoulders so you can make pulled pork sandwiches for the kids after a big weekend play in baseball. Either way, tastewhatporkcando.com. That's why pork is a part of the DeRusha family's dinner table multiple times a week. Lean, high in protein, packed with flavor. Tastewhatporkcando.com to find recipe inspiration, but get to the grocery store, get the butcher shop. Let's have Minnesota pork for dinner tonight. Oh, yeah. Summer's not over yet, and Launchpad Golf, the Meadows, is where I'm finishing it strong. It's Jason DeRusha. Launchpad Golf in Prior Lake, right across from Mystic Lake Casino Hotel. It's more than a golf entertainment venue. Come for dinner. Try some of my favorites like the Truffle Bison Burger, Wild-Caught Salmon. Plus, how about this deal? The Summer Players Card. It's just $199. Golf in a suite any weekday with 5 guests. 2 visits. Your new weekday hangout pays for itself. Book tonight at launchpadgolf.com.
Lisa Damuth, a Republican who delivers results.
And I led the charge in rooting out billions in fraud and waste.
To stop the fraud, you need a governor who won't back down. Lisa Damuth gets the job done. Lisa Damuth understands to make Minnesota affordable again, we must fight fraud. Lisa Damuth knows to create good-paying jobs for Americans, we must stop payments to illegal aliens.
I led the way to end taxpayer funding of health care for illegal immigrants.
In the legislature, Republican Lisa Damuth fought the fraudsters. Now, Lisa Damuth's running for governor.
Let's start our Minnesota comeback right here and right now.
America's PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising. Paid for by America's PAC and not authorized by any other candidate or committee. AmericasPAC527.com.
This is the story of the one who keeps multiple buildings running smoothly day after day. Plumbing that flows, HVAC that hums, cleaning supplies that keep surfaces sparkling. That's why she counts on Grainger. With easy reordering online and 24/7 support, Grainger helps her keep the products she needs on hand. So shelves stay stocked and buildings stay ready. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Straight Talk Wireless presents Pickup Truck Wisdom.
Trust is earned. That's why I've stuck with Straight Talk. Same price since 2009 on Verizon's 5G network. Cause shoot, anyone can make a promise. Keeping it for years, that means something.
Now plans starting at $25 a month with 4 lines. Find us at straighttalk.com and Walmart. Straight Talk Wireless. Straightforward. Always. Same price claim applies only to the base monthly price of our $45 plan from October 2009 to present.
Drive Time with DeRusha.
He creates a narrative that is advantageous to him. And frankly, at times it's disturbing.
On News Talk 830 WCCO.
What fix would you make to our highway system? MNDot asking for your advice, your help as they study what are they going to do with 694 between like Brooklyn Center and Arden Hills. UGEL on YouTube saying 494, UGEL would put express lanes separate from the regular traffic, maybe overhead lanes that go past Bloomington. I mean, double decker, right? Like maybe that's the magic. Jack in Maple Grove Jack, is that what we need to do at your stretch of road that's the worst thing? Maybe a double-decker highway?
Well, actually, 394 going into, the tunnel is always backed up 3 miles, and it's been doing it for years. And they just need to make another lane, maybe on a bridge going around Dunwoody. It's problematic, and you have to count on 15 minutes longer to drive because of that stop.
Right.
It's always stopped there. It's no matter what time of day you go.
And I can't believe how bad it is on the weekend. Even a non-rush hour, it's awful. But the Star Tribune just last week had this story that said the notorious 394 and 94 bottleneck will never be rebuilt. Just sort of saying like, well, it's not going to be fixed. Too bad. They're like, there's nowhere to go. There's nowhere we can add extra lanes. There's nothing. They're just saying like, because you got the Walker there, Dunwoody, Loring Park, the Basilica, that St. Mark's Episcopal and Hennepin Avenue United Methodist, you have all these churches. But I think, the Basilica, I was married in the Basilica. And if you ask Jesus what he would want, I think Jesus would want like a fix here. Right? Like, let's fix the bottleneck. Come on. We could get Catholics and Episcopalians together. We could solve a solution to this thing.
Why doesn't the federal put money in for the Federal Transportation Department to fix it? They've got plenty of money. They fixed our bridge that fell down.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Going up to Lutzen on 61, they built 5 tunnels, but that's because a Minnesotan was on the head of the Transportation Committee in the Senate.
That's how that works. Thanks, Jack. Appreciate it. Let's go to Steve in Wayzata. Steve, you're in charge. What stretch of highway do you want to fix?
Well, for one thing, County Road 5 from the Arboretum to 494 is bad.
Yep. All the stoplights, and you just never really get going down there, do you?
No, and then why don't they put those concrete barriers after Dunwoody all the way to the 94 turnout so people can't sneak up there?
Yeah. Well, don't take my shortcut out of here, Steve. But
can I say one thing to help everyone out?
Yeah, go ahead.
Remember, always speed and turn your headlights off while it's raining out.
Thank you, Steve. Steve in Wayzata. The opinions of Steve in Wayzata may not reflect the opinions of WCCO Radio and our traffic department. David is in his car. David, if you were going to fix one stretch of highway, what would it be?
Jason, it would be the Lafayette Bridge as it intersects with 94 and 35E. I don't care if it's morning drive, midday, or going home with Jason in the afternoon. It's always backed up all the way to South St. Paul.
I will say, David, that I do like a little bit of traffic jam. It makes people sit in their car a little longer and have to listen to the show. I do sort of like that side of things.
I understand.
Thanks, David. Good call. That is and I think sometimes the East Metro gets forgotten. And there's such a focus on that 394 pinch point where you go into 94, right by the Walker Art Center, the Sculpture Garden. But, oof, it's pretty good. Texter says for 394, if you just put a Quaaludes dispenser at each on-ramp, everything will be groovy. Well, the way things go in this state, I'm sure we're more likely to legalize that than we are going to fix this situation. The whole 494, 694 Twin Cities bypass, says a texter. I'd like to fix that. Another says the Crosstown. The Crosstown is, it is a classic example of like a lack of imagination, right? That when they built that, they could have added one more lane. And I get it, and the texter points out, like, for sure, liberals are going to say when you add more lanes, you just get more traffic. And the reason liberals say that is because all of the research indicates that when you add more lanes, the traffic expands to fill that. What that conversation leaves out is that there are times where the expansion creates more demand, and there are other times where the expansion just sort of solves a problem. So I don't know. I will say when 694 was first expanded in the North Metro, maybe 20 years ago when I first moved here, whew, game changer. Made my commute so much more pleasant. Jerry and Savage. Jerry, you have a construction take. Go for it.
Yeah, I mean, my biggest beef is the way they do construction. I mean, I understand they want to keep traffic flowing all the time, but 15 years ago, they did a big chunk of 169 through the Eden Prairie, Hop, St. Louis Park area, and they just ripped off the Band-Aid and just said 169 South is closed for like 3 months. They did bridges, they did roads, they did everything. And then the next year, they just said 169 North is closed for 3 months. It would have taken 3+ years of them doing the one lane each direction.
Yes.
They spend more time prepping for the work than they actually do the work. It just screws everything up for so long. We'll figure it out.
Jerry, we're going to see if this works with their 280 project that they've been working on over right in between Minneapolis and St. Paul by the state fairgrounds, because that's sort of what they did. They did sort of the 169 approach where they shut it down. But if they don't get this thing open by the state fair, I think it's going to be legitimate for people just to take the pitchforks and just march on the Capitol building.
All of us that have taken that 169 commute that lived through it just absolutely applauded the whole concept because we knew how horrible it would have been for so long.
No doubt. No doubt. Jerry, thank you. It is, one of the challenges, and I think the reconstruction of the 35W bridge sort of set expectations a little unrealistically for us because it was done so efficiently, so effectively, so quickly that now we want every project to be done with people working around the clock. The main obstacle to working around the clock is a personnel problem. Like the construction companies barely have enough people to work to do the regular job. Now, who's going to sign up to go work construction in a part of the highway that isn't completely shut down in the middle of the night? No, thank you. I'm not signing up for that. I do agree with Jerry, though. I would prefer more total shutdowns. Now, of course, then you have the reality of like, well, what do you do about the businesses? But I think people would rather have the Band-Aid ripped off instead of the multi-year after year of the slow drip, right? All right, let's break. In a minute, I think we've all been waiting to see when the real estate market was going to recover. I've been thinking about this in our situation where our kids are off at college and you're sort of trying to time it and figure out, like, do I want to buy a new place? What is it, a buyer's market? Is it a seller's market? Kris Lindahl is going to join us in a minute, tell us what he is seeing out in the marketplace and maybe a little advice as to what we should be thinking about if you're in a situation where maybe over the next 6 months or the next year, you are thinking about buying or selling a house. What is the latest? New numbers came out on home building in the Twin Cities too today. We'll talk about all of that with Kris in just a minute here on CCO.
Drive Time with DeRusha on News Talk 830 WCCO.
No, my keys are in there.
I knew I should have covered the chili. Honey, have you seen my earrings?
Uh-oh.
I don't know what that is, but it sounds expensive.
Your phone is now at 1%.
Yeah, we can't help with every tiny disaster that life throws at you, but when the news affects your day, when the roads get messy or the weather gets weird, we're right here, where and when you need us. News Talk 830 WCCO.
If you're planning to move to a senior living facility, you know firsthand that the wait lists are long, and when an opening pops up, you should take it right away. If you need to sell your house to make it happen, you're going to need to work quickly. My friends from the John Schuster Group, Coldwell Banker Realty, will make sure that your home sells when you need it to. Steve and Cheryl knew when they got to the top of the list, they needed to be ready. They heard me talking about John on the radio and called the Good Neighbor agent to come up with a plan. It made it so they didn't have to feel rushed, and so that the short notice of their move wouldn't leave them stuck paying for 2 homes. When they got the call saying that a spot in a senior living center was open, they knew they had to act. Luckily, they'd already come up with a plan with John. He fired up the marketing system. Interest came in right away. Took him 2 days to find a buyer. That's it for Steve and Cheryl. Their home sold for $5,000 over asking price. They planned ahead. You should too. Curious what your home is worth? Go to johnschustergroup.com.
Buy a home, sell a home, we'll get you moving. JohnSchusterGroup.com.
Terms and conditions may apply.
You know that feeling when your body is tired, but your brain just won't shut off? We've all been there. Jordana here. That's where CBN comes in. CBN, short for cannabinol, is a naturally occurring hemp cannabinoid known for its relaxing, sleepy effects. Think of it like the lights dimming signal for your brain. While CBD helps you stay calm, CBN helps your body know it's time to rest. That's why we call it CB Night Night. Mini Leaf Night and Night Plus Sleep Gummies combine CBN, CBD, and CBG to help you fall asleep faster and stay asleep longer, and then wake up feeling refreshed. Go to minileaf.com, MINNELEAF.com, minileaf.com, the home of Minnesota's best legal products. And tell them Jordana sent you.
We're talking construction law today with Blake Nelson, an attorney from Helmuth & Johnson. Blake, why is having the right legal support so important?
One delay, one payment issue, or one contract mistake can put an entire project at risk and be the difference between making and losing money. In Minnesota, contract terms, timing, and documentation matter.
How does Helmuth & Johnson help?
We help contractors, subcontractors, and property owners protect their rights, get paid, and keep projects moving.
Learn more at hjlawfirm.com. Helmuth & Johnson, on your side, at your side, for all your construction law needs.
Let's make this summer your best summer ever. Jason here for Luther Kia of Bloomington, and Luther Kia Bloomington wants to upgrade your ride. Outstanding prices. $399 a month. Sign and drive lease offers on Seltos, Sportage, Nero, and K5. Get out of here. Plus $750 owner loyalty cash on the stunning Kia Telluride and the Telluride Hybrid. Best cars for the money on the market. Check out their brand new facility, now open at 35W and 494. Luther Kia of Bloomington.com.
Liberty Mutual customizes your car and home insurance. And now we're customizing this rush hour ad to keep you calm, which could help your driving. And science says therapy is great for a healthy mindset. So enjoy this 14-second session on us. I think you've done everything right and absolutely nothing wrong. In fact, anything that hasn't gone your way could probably be blamed on your father not being emotionally available because his father wasn't emotionally available, and so on. And now that you're calm and healing, you're probably driving better too.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is traffic and weather together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
Things are slow for South 35W, 106th Street. You head down to Highway 13, traveling west 94 to Minneapolis. Got your slowdowns there as move in from Riverside. 35 East southbound, got your slowdowns as make way past Jefferson, heading down to Shepherd Road. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Get your home into the comfort zone with Metro Heating and Cooling.
An air conditioner at Metro Heating and Cooling is, on average, only $5,400 installed. Find out more at metroheating.com.
Now, the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
All right, CCO forecast brought to you by Metro Heating and Cooling. Here is Chief Meteorologist Chris Schaefer.
We'll have some scattered showers roll through while we sleep tonight, falling back to 67. It will stay breezy. It's a cold front that's passing. You'll love the air behind it. Mostly cloudy, less humid with a high around 78 tomorrow. Partly cloudy with a high of 81. Still not humid on Wednesday.
Sunny, 87 degrees in Elk River right now on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Drive Time with DeRusha.
I don't think it's working. Hello.
Right, yes.
On News Talk 830 WCCO.
Kris Lindahl and I were talking about the real estate market, 6 months ago. And Chris said, he's like, I don't know, I'm not as optimistic as everybody seems to be about this, which is unusual because Chris is an optimistic guy. But you, when you said this 6 months ago, and Chris is with us in studio right now, people were sort of roasting you, saying that you were not aligned with the data, you were full of it. And then, sure enough, a couple months later, all the data lined up right with what you've been saying, that it has been a challenging period, hasn't it? Thanks for coming in, Kris.
Yeah, appreciate you having me. Yeah, that's right. And I think oftentimes what gets lost in translation here is people go, oh, of course, he has a guaranteed cash offer program. He wants to tell every homeowner the sky is falling. The reality is we offer a lot of different programs for homeowners, as you know. You cannot argue with the data that in the world today, and I think it's interesting. There's like two sort of sides of this. You've got a big portion of people are like, finally a refreshing real estate professional that tells us what's really going on, that it's not the greatest time to buy and sell all the time.
Right.
And then you get the other side of it, which is becoming smaller and smaller because they're seeing the data. They're going, high skepticism. Of course, he's got to say this. What's the angle? But if anyone just uses their eyes and ears and looks around, like, things are not that great. They really aren't. And you're starting to see that now, unfortunately.
We just saw a headline that post the Fed meeting last week. Again, mortgage rates have been going up. Now, I haven't looked at mortgage rates in a bit. What are people paying for mortgage rates?
They're on the rise. I mean, they're nearly 7% again. And of course, historically, I mean, still a favorable rate, but I mean, it's the inflationary pressure on everyone in this world today, right? That most people can't afford to live, let alone buy a house. And so it's a really difficult time.
I think people ask this question of, is it a buyer's market still, or are sellers getting any more control? Like, how would you characterize the market right now?
It's a high risk environment, right? So a lot of open market sellers are exposed to the market. So they're sitting on the market, and anyone that's listening or watching probably can relate to this. If their home is on the market, like, most of the offers are coming in significantly lower than ask price if they get an offer at all. You've got open market buyers that are a little bit uneasy, maybe about their career, their job, expenses. And so, they're getting more aggressive in what they're asking for. Inspection requests are through the roof, and a lot more transactions are falling apart. I mean, just to give an example, this year in our MLS, over 15,000 homes have been rejected from the open market. So they've either canceled or expired from the market. So the number is alarmingly high.
Because people get, if you're in a certain sector of the market, you still are having like competitive bidding for homes. So you hear those anecdotes and you're like, yeah, is it really that bad?
Well, the one thing that's super misleading about competitive offers or bidding wars and things like that is it all starts with where you start. So if you underprice your home significantly, you might attract more than one offer, but that's not an indicator of where the market is going. I'll give you the best example of this. Inventory is rising significantly, right? Inventory rising is a very leading indicator to where we are heading. And so the lagging indicator is homes that have closed or have sold. Things that closed today or in the last month, they listed earlier this year when rates were significantly lower, where the global conflict wasn't around, right? And all these things have changed that. And so like you see the headlines of like home sales our home prices are really high, but home sales are really sluggish. And so what you're going to see moving forward here is if you have more inventory, like supplies increasing, you have rates that are really high, you are going to have home values that are going to come down. This is simply supply and demand economics. This isn't Kris's opinion because he offers programs or not. Like, the data is the data. And so just trying to get more people, sort of raise their awareness level to like the data is showing that we probably have some pretty uncertain high risk times ahead.
Minnesota realtors say new listings are up 11% statewide, a little bit less than that in the Twin Cities, but pretty close. And the median sales price is only up 1.4%. Are people like are people overpricing? Are people still operating under maybe a COVID era idea as to what their house might be worth?
That's a great question. I think, there's this term called the endowment effect, where we as human beings overvalue things that we've had memories in, we put our blood, sweat, and tears into. And so naturally we think what we own is worth more. And I've seen this from day one. I'd say, yeah, there's some people that are like that, but I think there's also a portion of the market that simply doesn't understand where things are at today, even though they're seeing it, right? I mean, you look at groceries, you look at insurance. I mean, whether that's health insurance, property insurance, car insurance. I mean, you look at all of these things that are going on and you know that the world is more expensive, and you just have to take a step back and get to 30,000 feet and go, the buyers for my home are experiencing that same pain. We also know median income too is not going up to the level that these expenses are. And so it's a challenging time to be a homeowner.
When the stuff you're talking about, these are structural issues. These are not things where I think like, oh, by, October, it's going to turn around, or by next spring, it's even going to turn around. I don't know. Is it your sense this is sort of, reset? This is where we're going to be for a bit?
Yeah. I hate to ring the bell of being a doomsdayer, but this is kind of the new normal, right? I mean, you can't get out of where we're at fast, right? I mean, you look at every single thing that is going on in the world is blinking like red. I mean, bankruptcies and foreclosures and auto loan defaults and student loan debt. I mean, it's every single indicator is blinking red. And so people are going to have to either one of two things can happen. Either they're going to get on board with where we're at today, or they're going to get left behind with their house.
Yeah. Which means you got to price competitively. And depending on what area of the market you're in, like, do people need to do major upgrades? Are buyers getting pickier? Like, what are you seeing out there?
So this is a market where you have to move, right? I think what is the reason why home sales continue to slow is that people that want to move, whether that's buy or sell, are out of the market. Whether they have a 2 or 3% mortgage on their house, or they simply can't afford what houses are going for
that's
today.
My situation.
Right.
We've talked about this before, but like I, under normal circumstances, would have sold my house. I've been in the same house for 18 years. I don't need that much room anymore. I probably will want to upgrade. People downsize, but but like my mortgage is 2%.
Right.
How can I justify like going from what I'm spending now to what I would need to spend in today's market?
Of course, it's sluggish, right? Because of that. And so this whole market is based on people that have to move. And I think until that unlocks itself, we're kind of stuck. And so I think
it's the have tos that are driving it, and the want
and there's not enough have tos.
Me are sort of
there's not enough have tos. And this is why you see home sales that are so low, but then you add in the supplies going up and interest rates are going up and all these expenses are going up and costs are going up and defaults are going up and you have all this stuff going on. And this is how you get a really soft real estate market. And I think finally people are on board with what I've been saying about what's going on. And I think the one thing to remind everyone is that, obviously we offer a lot of different programs and we believe in options for homeowners. The homeowner gets to decide the option they're taking, not me. Right. And so we are seeing an alarmingly increasing rate of people saying yes to guaranteed cash offers. And you're seeing the red check club everywhere, but that's their choice, not ours. And the reason why they're choosing that is they don't want to gamble with all of the indicators that are going on. I'll give you another example, Jason. It happens all the time. Someone will call in and they'll have a friend, family member, or neighbor that's on the open market, not selling. They're like, oh, I'm talking to my friend, my neighbor, my family member. They've been listed for 6 months. They're doing open houses every weekend. They're doing price reductions. They had one real estate agent. They fired their agent. They're now listed with another agent and they're still not selling. And so like word's traveling that the real estate market is getting soft, right? This isn't Kris's opinion or Jason's opinion. I mean, just go online and look at all the price reductions of homes in the homes for sale or drive through a neighborhood. And so I think more and more homeowners are getting on board that the market looks different. And same thing with
like my next door neighbor, desirable zip code, affordable price point in that 400, sub 400, that neighborhood, good school district, but it's been on the MLS for 46 days.
Right. And you go 5, 6 years ago, that house has gone with 7 offers and over asking price in day one.
Yeah.
Right. And so now, exactly what you just said, there's people are seeing it with their own eyes. Like they're seeing that things are changing. And it's the same with the buyers. The buyers are getting way more aggressive. Like for example, your neighbor's house, 46 days on the market, a buyer comes in and they know that it's been sitting for 46 days. Are they going to give it a full price offer? Absolutely not. And when they get to the home inspection, are they going to ask for things or not? Of course, they're going to ask for things in a reduction. And so the sellers on the open market are exposed to this entire market and buyers are taking advantage of the situation. And this is what creates that high risk environment.
If you are looking at your house, and we're talking with Kris Lindahl, if you're looking, and you guys know, like Kris is a sponsor of the show. This isn't a sponsored segment, but you know that Kris and I know each other and are friends. So if you're in a situation where maybe, you're thinking a year out or 2 years out, you might want to sell your house. Are there things people should be doing today to prepare?
I think the big one is realigning with where the world's at today and what likely is going to happen moving forward. Right. I think people right now that are sort of like, oh, I'm going to wait till next spring, or I'm going to wait till next year. I think naturally when you're in that environment, and you own that home, there's this optimism that we are going to list the house for this because we want to get the down payment for the next house, or we want to pay off some debt, or we want to help with, with the kids' education, whatever you want to do. And the reality is you have cloudy glasses on, right? And you have to really look at all the indicators, all the things that are being reported. And this isn't opinion based. I'm saying, look at the facts only. I mean, just look at the facts and go, if I wait, and what will the market do? Because I think there are too many people that think that if I don't get my price right now, I'm just going to wait till next spring and I'm going to get more later. And so what we're seeing is you're actually getting further away from the number that you actually need to get, because you have this sort of delusional optimism that the market is going to continue to get better, even though every indicator around the economy doesn't look so good. Right. And I think because people have been used to that, right?
Yeah.
Right. The market's been going like, if I don't get this, I'll just price it later. And everyone thinks that appreciation is just going to continue to come. And like this year was the first year ever where we saw back-to-back months where there was no appreciation. Right. And so what do you expect is going to happen when supply continues to go up, rates go up, and everything else going on? You have to have a correction and a shift. And that's what we're seeing. And I think a lot of homeowners that are considering going on the market in the near future or even next year, it's a gamble. And I think people are seeing for the first time that it's not as certain as it used to be.
Kris, appreciate it. Thank you for coming in and sharing your thoughts.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
It's not so sunny.
I'm trying the best I can.
I know it's hard. It is the reality. I mean, we know things will shake out, certainly like from an age and demographic scenario, like the boomers, as they are getting older, like you are going to see a change in things.
You are. I think a lot of people aren't necessarily, think about homeowners that have had a lot of equity. They're not necessarily out of money per se. They're running out of time. They're running out of time. And sort of that move that they need to make is getting further away from them.
Yeah.
And so that's where I see a lot of people that are in that want to move to that have to move, is that time slipping away, and they start realizing like, hey, look at all this space we haven't been using, but we're paying on, and they're starting to realize that they're a little bit exposed to the shifting market. And it's interesting how psychology works.
Yeah.
When things start going down, people get really motivated. When things keep going up, they go, hold on, I'm going to wait for a little more.
Yeah.
Right. And so we've now shifted to where more people are getting realistic and wanting to get out. And I think the time aspect of we're losing time, I'm hearing more and more people say that.
Kris, thank you. We'll break in just a minute. On example, a video that I posted this weekend went viral. We saw one of the candidates for governor handling a crisis the way that I would like to see governors handle it. We'll talk about that next.
This is Drive Time with DeRusha on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Jason here for my friends in Maple Grove, Randy's Electric. Randy's Electric. Look, we are hitting the end of summer, and the team at Randy's is saying, look, it's time to take action when it comes to some of the important things in your house. So, you've got a school supply list to take care of the to-dos, but you might have some of those to-dos at home. And Randy's Electric, hey, if you're thinking about like holiday lights, are you sick and tired of not having outlets outside? They can do that for you. What about your drains in your home, whether it's your irrigation system, whether it's your disposal in your sink? That's what I'm going to have the team at Randy's fix. That trash disposal where you turn it on and you just hear, and I get down there with my Allen wrench and fix it. We're going to get that taken care of with the team at Randy's. They're there for you in the major disasters too. When life hands you one of those oh no's, the drain that smells wrong or the water heater that stops working, Randy's Electric and Plumbing will send you licensed pros. They do electrical, they do plumbing, they do sewer, they do water heater. They do same-day repairs, honest pricing up front, and they text you so you know exactly what's going along the process. No surprises. when you have those oh no moments, or if you're just planning ahead, ticking off your summer to-do list. Call Randy's.com. Call Randy's Electric and Plumbing.
Man, I love this place. I've been surfing here since I was a kid. Now, seeing my grandson out on the water, it means everything to me. Watching him and taking in the blue waves, the sea breeze, the blurry horizon.
If you have geographic atrophy, or GA, subtle changes in vision could mean it's progressing toward irreversible vision loss. Izervay is proven to slow GA progression and could help preserve your vision for longer, so you may keep seeing the world around you. Izervay, or avacincaptad pegol, is an eye injection. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may cause blood in the white of the eye, blurred vision, or a temporary increase in eye pressure. Do not drive or use machinery until vision has recovered after an eye injection or exam. Ask your retina specialist how you can slow your GA with Izervay. To learn more, call 1-855-IZERVAY or go to izervay.com. Paid for by Astellas Pharma.
Is life insurance still on your list from earlier this year? Now is the perfect time to just get it done. A buddy told me that securing life insurance sooner rather than later can help you lock in lower rates for years to come. So I added this to my list this year and got it done. I called SelectQuote and was shocked at how easy and affordable life insurance is. I'm 40 and got a $500,000 policy for $18 a month. My wife's also 40 and her $5,000 policy was only $16 a month. Plus, with SelectQuote's same-day coverage, no medical exam was required, and we were covered by the time we hung up. Checking this off my list felt great, but the peace of mind knowing my family is protected feels even better.
Call SelectQuote at 1-800-280-5858 for your free quote today. That's 1-800-280-5858. Or go to SelectQuote.com. That's 1-800-280-5858. Details on example rate at SelectQuote.com.
I'm Piera Palazzolo, VP of Digital Marketing for the American Management Association, a company focused on the management training skills needed to enhance the careers of business professionals. We did our research when it came to the best companies for website development and chose AmericanEagle.com. And we couldn't be happier. AmericanEagle.com worked closely with us to understand the front and back end requirements needed to launch an e-commerce website that could handle the complexities of running thousands of seminars nationwide. Our robust new website and improved SEO saw immediate increases in site traffic and web revenue. If you're in need of managerial effectiveness and success, visit our website at MNDot.org. If you're in need of a website that provides an unparalleled consumer experience, I highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Transform your business today. Dial 877-WebNow1 for a free digital consultation with AmericanEagle.com.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is traffic and weather together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
And seeing some slowdowns for Highway 10 eastbound as you come down from 96 heading to 35 or heading down to 694 over toward Lexington. Traveling west 694 got some slowdowns there central to 252. Southbound 35W slows as make way between 106th Street and Highway 13. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
For the best windows in the business that are made to order just for you, an array of styles, features that will fit your project and budget, only one way to go. My friends with Pella Windows and Doors, PellaNorthland.com. Tell me, heard this from Chad.
Now, the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
CCO forecast brought to you by Pella Windows Northland. Tonight we're watching for scattered showers in the overnight hours, low of 67. Tomorrow looks good, 78, less humid, 5 below average. Sounds good to me. Right now, it's 86 and sunny on CCO.
Drive Time with DeRusha is fueled by Luther Kia of Bloomington. Go see Dan Dingman and the crew today, or always online at LutherKiaofBloomington.com.
No news from the Minnesota Twins. Trade deadline is about an hour and 4 minutes away. Remember how crazy it was last year at this time? We'll keep you updated as we wait for the deadline. The Twins saying they'll be buyers. They've made some purchases, but nothing too massive. We'll see over the next hour and change. So this weekend, I posted a little clip of our show on Friday, and we'd love if you subscribe to our podcast. Just search Drive Time with DeRusha on Apple Podcast and Spotify and Odyssey. It's on all of those. But remember, the president of the United States was talking about the cyber attack on 30 water systems throughout Minnesota, and he said that he didn't really believe Iran was to blame. He blamed Minnesota's corrupt governor, Tim Walz, which caused me to sort of lose my mind about the fact that no one really cares about us, the people. That politics frankly, certainly for the president of the United States, but I think all too much over the last year for the governor of Minnesota, has been more about fighting with each other. So while the president is blaming Tim Walz responds on social media and says, well, it's obvious we don't have a plan to win the war in Iran. Amy Klobuchar sends out a statement that sounded like it came from an adult, and I was so thrown by it, we needed to bring it up here. Here's what Senator Klobuchar did. Today, I spoke with U.S. National Cyber Director and Minnesota native Sean Cairncross about the cyber attacks. We discussed updated technology. Imagine a governor who was talking about this instead of fighting with the president. Oh, so refreshing.
Lisa Damuth, a Republican who delivers results.
And I led the charge in rooting out billions in fraud and waste.
To stop the fraud, you need a governor who won't back down. Lisa Damuth gets the job done. Lisa Damuth understands to make Minnesota affordable again, we must fight fraud. Lisa Damuth knows to create good-paying jobs for Americans, we must stop payments to illegal aliens.
I led the way to end taxpayer funding of health care for illegal immigrants.
In the legislature, Republican Lisa Damuth fought the fraudsters. Now, Lisa Damuth's running for governor.
Let's start our Minnesota comeback right here and right now.
America's PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising. Paid for by America's PAC and not authorized by any other candidate or committee. AmericasPAC527.com.
All right, it's officially the most wonderful time of the year at Staples. They've got back-to-school supplies as low as 25 cents, up to 40% off select tech, 20% off for teachers, and more. Check out all the deals at staples.com/back-to-school. Staples, that was easy.
How do airplanes fly? What's in this box? What does this thing do?
Kids are curious about everything, including guns. Learn how to store your gun securely and make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
News Talk 830 WCCO, Minneapolis, St. Paul.
From ABC News, I'm Lindsay Davis, anchor of Prime, streaming weeknights on ABC News Live. A last chance warning to Iran if it doesn't sign a deal with the U.S. from President Trump at the White House.
I want to give him every last chance before decapitation. Very tough to do what we have planned, still planned. We'll see what happens.
On talks with Iran about the Strait of Hormuz.
We're talking about the strait, the opening of the strait, having it open literally by tomorrow, completely open.
President Trump also again insisting without evidence that vandalism was involved in the Lincoln Memorial reflecting pool case, criticizing the U.S. attorney handling the investigation.
I was disappointed with Jeanine Pirro, really disappointed with Jeanine Pirro. She folded like an umbrella.
The Justice Department dismissed charges against a man, saying documents from the Interior Department indicated botched work by the contractor. The president's company, Trump Media, is launching a new feature that critics say is corrupt, an example of a president making money off of his office. ABC's Peter Haralambous.
Now, the president's company is selling instant access to Trump's social media posts through a service designed for big financial firms that could make millions from having Trump's announcements milliseconds faster than their competitors.
Two Republican senators who delayed the Todd Blanche nomination for Attorney General say they're satisfied that Blanche has met their demands, and a Judiciary Committee vote's expected tomorrow. Blanche said written documents indicating a proposed fund that could have compensated January 6 rioters was dead. Hundreds of homes are destroyed by wildfires, say fire officials in Spokane, Washington. ABC's Alex Stone in Spokane.
More than 7,000 acres burning. Home after home burned to the ground. Residents and their family members are coming back to find what's left.
No known deaths, according to fire officials. Crude oil prices closed lower. Wall Street's major indexes closed strongly higher. The Dow adding 693 points. The S&P up 110. You're listening to ABC News.
Minnesota's trusted voice every hour. Let's get you caught up with what's happening now on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Sunny and 87 degrees at 4:02. Good afternoon. I'm Mark Fry. Vance Belter making his first appearance in state court today following his federal sentencing last month. Belter's hearing comes 11 days after he was sentenced in federal court to 2 life sentences plus 40 years for the murders of Melissa and Mark Hortman, as well as the shootings of John and Yvette Hoffman and the attempted shooting of their daughter, Hope. Prosecutors want to move Belter to Hennepin County Jail, while his defense wants him to remain in the Sherburne County Jail. Twin Cities defense attorney Joe Tamburino.
Right now, really, the state court judge can't do anything about because he's in federal custody. Technically, the Bureau of Prisons has authority over him. So if the federal authorities say he's staying in Sherburne County or wherever, that's where he's going to stay. They have primary jurisdiction.
In a bit of a strange development, Belter asked the judge some questions about his case, which is rare according to Tamburino, who will join our own Jason DeRusha live here in just a few minutes. Investigators now say alcohol is believed to have been a factor in yesterday's crash that injured a Minnesota state trooper and another motorist near Forest Lake. That crash happened just after 5:30 on I-35 south of 220th Street. The Washington County Sheriff's Office says a Minnesota state trooper was parked in the median bypass of I-35 conducting speed enforcement when their vehicle was struck in the passenger door by a northbound vehicle. The trooper and occupant of the other vehicle were taken to Regents Hospital with serious injuries. No other updates on their conditions have been provided. Wildfires in northern Minnesota have now burned more than 64,000 acres of land, but significant progress has been made with more of the BWCA expected to reopen.
Nearly 70% of the Boundary Waters Canoe Area wilderness is open for visitors, but there are some restrictions in place, according to Drew Schoberg, the acting supervisor of the Superior National Forest.
So they can't have campfires, they can't use wood-burning stoves or charcoal stoves.
He says they are fighting a massive perception problem, with many people not wanting to make the trip north.
They've even had people canceling into next year. Now, I'm not sure how widespread that is. There's a conception that amongst some people that the entire Boundary Waters is on fire.
He says it's all been devastating to businesses who make 90% of their income in the months of July and August. Susie Jones, News Talk 830 WCCO.
And a Cushing, Minnesota man was injured Saturday morning when an Amtrak train struck his stalled vehicle in Randall. The Morrison County Sheriff's Office says the 62-year-old had exited the vehicle by the time it was hit, but then he was hit by flying debris, causing him to be airlifted to a St. Cloud hospital. No injuries were reported aboard that train. It is 4:04, traffic and weather coming up.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is traffic and weather together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
Some slowing for North 100 as you make way towards 694-94. 35W northbound slows into downtown Minneapolis as you move past Lake Street. Watching I-94 eastbound as you make way into Wisconsin. Not too bad a ride over the St. Croix River Bridge right now. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Type JTR on your computer for roofing, siding, gutters, windows, and more. Serving the Twin Cities Metro. For a free estimate, visit jtrroofinginc.com.
JTR. Roofing and siding, that's who we are.
Now, the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
Brought to you by JTR Roofing. Here's WCCO TV Chief Meteorologist Chris Schaefer.
It stays warm and windy tonight. We'll have some scattered showers rolling through while we sleep. 67 the overnight low. Mostly cloudy tomorrow, notably less humid. It's going to be comfortable with a high of 78. Partly cloudy and 81 on Wednesday.
All right, thank you, Chris. It is 87 and sunny on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Whether you're in the office or heading to a job site or on the couch in your jammies because your boss thinks remote working is still cool, you can stay connected to what's going on with News Talk 830 WCCO. Good questions. Topics you'll probably talk about at dinner. Places to go for dinner. This is the Ride Home Reimagined. Welcome to Drive Time with DeRusha. Thanks to Luther Kia of Bloomington. Now, here's Jason DeRusha.
It is August 4th. Is this the first? What day is it? It's the 3rd. I get excited. I mean, it's our first show of August. It is the 3rd Drive Time with DeRusha. Parents getting ready. School supply shopping, all of that sort of stuff. The biggest story in Minnesota today is the killer of the Hortmans. The man who single-handedly changed the way that politicians in this state think about their own safety. I mean, I think perhaps we even underestimate how devastating what happened that Saturday morning in June of 2025 when Vance Belter, convicted political assassin, was on the hunt. Early morning hours, he was on the hunt. He pled guilty in federal court, but made, well, I'm going to ask Joe Tamburino to characterize this, because to me, Vance Belter asking a judge today if Senator Amy Klobuchar could be called to testify is bizarre, is unusual, and is concerning as to what Belter may be up to if, in fact, this does proceed to a trial. Joe's with us in studio today. I appreciate you coming in, Joe. Bizarre, is that a fair way to characterize it?
Yes, very bizarre. Thanks for having me. I mean, he said, I wasn't there, but from what I read, he said a number of things. I mean, first of all, think of it this way. Every time you're in court, any attorney will say to their client, do not say anything unless I tell you to say something, or if I tell you, look, the judge is going to ask you some question, that's fine to answer. But don't just go off on your own. Well, this is what he did. He just went off on his own. Now, that's his right. You mean you can't shut him up, but it's not advisable.
Yes. Does this court have the authority to bring her in to testify, or is she above the law? He said to the judge, I have a couple of questions on process and just rights. He said that at taxpayers' expense, he was sent to Washington representing. I even hesitate to repeat this stuff because, Joe, this is part of the challenge, and everybody has the right to tell their story in court if indeed there's going to be a court hearing. But I don't know if somebody should be allowed to just say whatever they want to say. I mean, it's sort of like bastardizing the purpose of a court hearing to turn it into your own opportunity to push forward whatever sort of delusional agenda you want to push forward.
Well, rarely will it get to that level because the judge has control of the courtroom. So, this was his first time in state court. And so the judge obviously allowed him to speak. It wasn't for long. But if he ever kept going on and on, if he was saying, more bizarre things, the judge could easily just cut him off and just say, look, I've given you 2 or 3 minutes to talk. That's enough. You want to say anything else, talk to your attorney, because he was appointed a public defender today. So, I mean, I don't foresee that he would ever do that. And rarely does that happen because, again, the judge will cut you off and will say, no more of this.
It is sort of the fundamental question when it comes to having this secondary trial. And I want to ask you, well, this would be the first trial if we have it, the first time in state court. But I have sort of mixed feelings about whether it's even worth doing this, right? Because he's pled guilty on federal charges. He's been sentenced to 2 lifetimes in prison plus 40 years. Vance Belter is never going to take another breath of air as a free man. And so what, in your view, is the purpose of going through this whole state trial as well?
Well, 3 things. First, this will, I think, aid the victims and the victims' families in this case by trying to seek justice. They will never get justice. You can't get justice in a case like this, but they will know that at least the state will also get convictions on him. And they might get some answers to some of their questions. I mean, right now, I'm sure they have so many questions and the answers are few and far between. But as the state process goes forward, they might get some answers. And if the state case ever went to trial, which sure is unlikely, but if it ever did, they'll get a lot more answers. So that's number one. Number two is his federal time could be affected by the state time. How is that so? Well, I mean, think of it this way. The state judge could say, I'm going to give you a consecutive sentence so that you're going to serve all your time in federal prison. And obviously that's natural life. But if something ever goes wrong, you're also going to have to come back to state court. And number three is this is an example of that if you obviously murder people in Minnesota, regardless of if the federal government steps in, Minnesota's still going to do something about it.
Yeah, it's that last point that resonates most with me because part of me thinks that this hysteria over, well, the president might pardon, to me, that is so absurd.
Yeah, it's very unlikely.
But there is reason for Minnesota to say, if you kill somebody in Minnesota, we are going to hold you responsible as a state. We're not just offloading that to the federal government.
That's exactly right. And, this is a very unique case, Jason, because most of the time the state case goes first. In fact, most of the time when you have just a straight up murder like this situation, the state has primary jurisdiction. Now, the federal government stepped in very early. I mean, right after Mr. Bolter was arrested, I mean, they were there and they took control of the situation. Why is that so? Well, we don't know, but it doesn't help that the Hennepin County Attorney's Office over the last several years hasn't had a good relationship with either the state government or the federal government. I mean, we need only remember back in 2023 when Governor Walz had to take that prosecution away from the Hennepin County Attorney's Office and even threatened to take the Londrigan prosecution away. So, I mean, I don't know exactly why the feds stepped in first on this, but they did. But most of the time, it's the state that goes first.
Yeah, and I think that to me makes more sense doing it that way, right? Yeah. Because often the federal charges are some sort of related scenario.
That's right. That's right. Like in this case, I mean, the state charges are actual murder and attempted murder. That's right. The federal charges are, well, it's stalking and a murder is the result. It's a firearm use and a death is the result. But the state charges are actually straight up murder. And, you could just think back to the Chauvin case. Chauvin went through state court first. He had a state trial first. So it's a unique situation, but it's still important for the state of Minnesota to prosecute.
If you were, as we talked with Joe Tamburino, if you were Vance Belter's defense attorney, would you advise, make a deal? You already pled guilty to this. You've already sort of, said you did it.
Right.
Make a deal, save everybody the headache, and move on.
Yes, but you would also have the further argument, which is you could make a deal which is not going to adversely affect your federal sentence. And here's what I mean by that. Anyone who's in prison, whether it's state or federal, doesn't want to do dead time. They want to be able to avail themselves of some programming. And so we don't know where he's going to land in the federal prisons. That's up to the BOP, Bureau of Prisons. But you want to make sure your federal case doesn't interfere with your ability to get certain, even though they might be minimal, privileges that you could get out of your jail cell. So I'm sure that his public defender is telling him, look, you're in a precarious situation because what the state does might affect how you're going to serve that federal time. So let's work something out.
He, in court today, complained about the conditions in the Sherburne County Jail, said that he lost a bunch of weight, when he was arrested, said his health has deteriorated. Now, I'm sure the Hortmans are boo-hoo, we don't feel very sorry for him. He also said his religious freedoms have been violated because he hasn't been allowed to see a pastor or priest for 14 months. Does he have any grounds on any of this stuff?
No, not really. And especially not to a state court, because He's in federal custody.
Yeah.
I mean, he was brought over into state court today because he had to make an appearance in state court. But he is basically property of the Bureau of Prisons. And right now they're holding him in the Sherburne County Jail. I don't know if he'll be, held there throughout the pendency of this state case. He could, or they could ship him to a federal facility somewhere and simply transport him back when he has to be here, physically be here in state court.
Yeah, the public defender, I think it was the county attorney, was trying to get him into the county jail instead of Sherburne jail.
The only thing with that is, I would ask the Hennepin County Sheriff, does she really want someone like this in her jail? Because this would be a high security risk.
Yeah.
You've got to imagine that when someone like that goes into the Hennepin jail, not only would he be a target, but it brings a different type of security issue to the jail. So, I would imagine if I were sheriff, I would say keep him somewhere else.
It is the fundamental challenge with a case like this where you say, I don't want to let Vance Belter get a big megaphone to tell the world that Tim Walz told him to go to Washington and he met with Amy Klobuchar and they told him that he's got to go kill some Democrats so Republicans can have the majority in the state house, because that does seem to be sort of the bit that he's going to share. That said, everybody gets their day in court.
Oh, that's right. And he's not going to be able to say that.
Well, if he testifies, right?
Well, if they have a trial and he testifies, that's right. He's just not going to be allowed to say those things at his next court appearance. Now, if he pleads guilty, he will have an opportunity to address the court as his. Yeah. But again, the judge could say, look, you can talk about how I should sentence you. I'm not going to allow you to talk about these conspiracy theories or, U.S. senators and governors. That ain't going to happen.
Joe Tamburino, we appreciate it.
Anytime.
Thanks for coming in. 418, do you guys want to hear, do you want a trial? What do you think should happen here? Do you think the state is wasting time and wasting money? Or is this important for justice? You heard me, you heard Joe. Now you chime in. 651-461-9226.
Drive Time with DeRusha is fueled by Luther Kia of Bloomington. Go see Dan Dingman and the crew today, or always online at lutherkiaofbloomington.com.
Let's talk about home and auto insurance. Let's talk about making sure that you are getting the best coverage at the best price. That's what I want for you and your family, and that's what the Canopy Group did for me and my family. It's Jason. TheCanopyGroup.com is the website. I reached out via telephone because I'm 100 years old. I like talking to the people that are going to quote me a price. 800-967-3389. That's what I call it. They've got offices in Belle Plaine and Le Sueur and Minnetonka. And they know that 81% of Minnesotans have one insurance agent who represents one company. The big name on the shingle outside the office. The Canopy Group represents you. They have 16 different companies at their disposal, 40 reputable professionals working hard to take care of you and your needs. When I reached out to Canopy Group, they saved me $820 the first year. And I had 2 teenagers driving at the time. That on my home and auto insurance. The other thing I love is back when I had the one agent and the one company I used to call every year when I got my bill. I'd say, are you sure? Is this the best deal you got going? The Canopy Group does that automatically. They do it automatically. And so every year they run the numbers to make sure I have the best coverage at the best price. What do you have to lose? Nothing. So reach out. Get that quote online. You can do it at thecanopygroup.com.
For the ones who get it done, Grainger offers the professional-grade products you need to get the job done. With fast delivery you can depend on and access to technical product experts ready to help you meet any challenge. Call clickgrainger.com or just stop by.
Raise the mainsail, trim the jib, shiver me timbers.
You're in a nautical mood.
It's always smooth sailing in the trades.
All bites.
Borofka's easy breezy trade-in policy. Trade in an old piece of furniture. Receive $100 off the Craftsman Direct purchase price of beautiful Borofka's furniture.
So if I have an end table that doesn't fit my decor,
trade it in for $100 off anything $2,000 or more. Bedroom, dining room, home office, Turn any piece of furniture you'd like to get rid of into $100 off a new piece of Borofka's furniture.
It's a great way to upgrade your home with solid American-made furniture and save money at the same time.
Lower the boom and make some room when you trade up at Borofka's.
Oh, Jim. Borofka's, no gimmicks, haggling, or hard-to-understand pricing. In Woodbury and Burnsville. Decidedly smooth sailing.
Let me tell you something about insurance. When you sign your insurance policy, for some brokers, that's the finish line. Handshake, commission, done. Then you may not hear from them again until it's time for renewal. But your business runs all year, so do the gaps and the risk. So go to supersure.com. If your company has more than 25 employees, whether you're the owner, CFO, or HR manager, it can be too complex to just go buy a policy online. Supersure is the super agency built for you, licensed in every state for your business insurance and employee benefits, all with year-round support for you and your team. At supersure.com, you can access tools like fine print facts. It'll translate your current policy into plain English so you see what's covered and what's not. Plus a business value calculator so you can estimate what your business is worth so you know what actually needs protecting. Go to supersure.com. One super agency, one powerful platform, all your policies in one place. Supersure.com. That's supersure.com. Paid for by Supersure Insurance Agency, LLC, a licensed insurance agency.
Drive Time with DeRusha.
Weird. It was startling. It's a little scary.
On News Talk 830 WCCO.
We're keeping our eye on baseball updates. We got about 38 minutes remaining before the trade deadline. And so far, nothing major today, right, Dan? No major
for the Twins.
For the Twins.
There's been some major trades, but nothing involving the Twins.
The Astros were in the mix for Trevor Larnach.
Well, supposedly there was a deal that was agreed upon by the two general managers, and the Astros owner came in the last minute and nixed it. And then there was some buzz again today that maybe they were trying to revisit that deal. But it also sounds like maybe the Astros are using the Twins to try and lower the price on another player they're looking at. So who knows?
Right. No giant headline though for the Twins, right? They brought in Minter on Friday.
AJ Minter from the Mets. That was probably the biggest deal that they've done so far, which is not an enormous deal, but relative to everything else, they brought in another guy who's a starting pitcher. But I mean, we're talking back end of the rotation and just a way to give a couple of guys a break. Not a guy that you expect to be a dominant postseason starter by any stretch of the imagination. You would think that they'd be looking for another, like a right-handed reliever at some point. That would be, if they were going to get another deal done that in the next 36 minutes, that would be what they were looking for, but we'll see.
But for fans who are worried that, some of the kind of big names were going to be traded away.
You know, I mean, obviously,
doesn't look like, we'll
early
see.
in the year, we were talking about Joe Ryan. Joe Ryan's not going anywhere. There may still be a Ryan Jeffers deal. Obviously, they were willing to move on from Trevor Larnach. Not that fans would necessarily say he's a huge name, but they might surprise a few people. It's possible. I mean, again, 36 minutes to go. Lots can happen in a short period of time.
All right. We'll keep watching, and as soon as we see anything, we'll be sure to let you know about that. Did you see this in the Star Tribune today? So last week, there was reporting that Purple Rain, Prince musical, is going to Broadway, which I was a little surprised by because the reviews of Purple Rain here in the Twin Cities were awful. It got a little bit of the Minnesota Charity, a little bit of the it's pretty good, Prince. But most people who saw this thing were like, jumbled, long, not good. I mean, the truth is, am I going to get kicked out of Minnesota for saying this? But Purple Rain, the movie, it's not exactly one of the all-time great films.
No.
Great soundtrack.
That's just it. It's the soundtrack. It's seeing Minnesota the way that it was displayed in the film.
But it was written
by
our
guy, Prince.
It was written by Prince.
It was written by Prince, who wasn't a screenwriter.
That's right. Lin-Manuel Miranda has signed on to, I guess, polish the turd. Is that the phrase we would use?
I mean, it's a phrase.
He did check out the musical, according to Rohan Preston, that Lynn and his father, Luis Miranda, have signed on as co-producers of this. They're gonna. Here's what's gonna happen. These guys are gonna take the whole thing that was done here in Minnesota and start from scratch, and they probably should, right? And are we still gonna claim? Are we gonna act like this was the Lion King? The Lion King started here. Are we going to take credit for it, or are we going to face reality and be like, boy, our version didn't really work?
Now, look, Prince is our guy. Purple Rain is our property. It's ours, and you can't have it. I don't care if every New York screenwriter and actor comes out of the
it's gonna have
woodwork.
like the Lin-Manuel Miranda,
Great.
rat-a-tat-tat,
Good
like
for Lin.
Hamilton kind of
It's
bit.
ours, and that's it.
I don't know.
He can contribute. I got nothing against Lynn. Do your thing, man. He's had some success, I guess. Although Hamilton was overrated, but whatever.
Wow.
This is ours.
Wow.
This is ours.
Wow. There's a new director, a new book writer. Bobby Z and Morris Hayes are still consultants on it. But now, you know what it means when you're a producer, right?
Means you've kicked in some money somewhere.
That's exactly right. It sounds so good. I always thought, like, being a producer, man, that's got to be hard work. And it sounds
Now,
like it's you write a check.
In the film context, yeah, that's what it means. In the radio context, completely different situation.
Texter, I'm going to say it. Whenever you start a text with I'm going to say it, do you think people have a moment where they're like, maybe I shouldn't say it?
Well, I think they do, and that's why they start and say, I'm going to say it anyway. I thought about it. I thought maybe I shouldn't say it, but I'm going to say it anyway.
I'm going to say it. The obsession with Prince in Minnesota has gone too far. There's a Prince night every other week at the Timberwolves game. Prince Day or week celebrated throughout the year. He's got some good music, but it's time to find other people. So here's the question. I mean, who do we got that's better? If we had someone else, I'd be with you.
Lizzo had a moment, but it was never a Prince moment.
Man, Lizzo, she had a moment, and then when first whiff of like negative publicity on her, and then she lost weight. People liked her because she was fat, and then she lost all that weight, and everyone was like, done with her. Why? What happened?
Did you see the Sports Illustrated pictures? I'm just saying.
Come on, people. Like some of you guys who are dumping on Prince, I'm not going to even read this stuff. Prince was that great. Don't give him Prince wasn't that great. Was that great?
Yes, absolutely 100% was.
Texter, Prince should have stayed in his lane instead of trying to make the movie. I love his music, but would rather play mahjong than sit through the musical. People, man, some of you people.
Yeah.
God forbid something terrible happened to you.
Or a loved one. Yeah.
I'm saving these phone numbers, and if you guys die, I'm going to come to your funeral and be like, well, let me read these text messages. You guys all think this guy was so nice? Here are all of the replies on Facebook that this loser sent out. Like, that's what I'm going to do. That's what you guys are doing on the text line. I agree in the early years, like after Prince died, there was an absurd level where like you'd have the like flea market at Canterbury Park, and you'd see the commercials on TV, and they're like, this weekend it's the Home Improvement Show featuring, so-and-so from HGTV, local food trucks, plus a celebration of Prince. And you're like, well, I don't know, goat yoga and a tribute to Prince. You're like, I don't know that we need
I understand what they're saying in terms of, too many of the sports teams doing Prince nights still every year.
But like,
it gets to be a lot.
The Timberwolves and Prince, like there's some connection there. There's some logic. But what else do we have? We have nothing else, guys. Like we have no celebrities.
We have like
the biggest celebrity we have is our local news people.
Look, Prince is brilliant and deserves all the recognition possible. And we do, there's a theme night every night at ball games, so you can come up with something else other than Prince.
Who should we have though?
It doesn't have to be even a who.
Oh, you'd like to get rid of Prince night for farm implement?
Well,
night?
Whatever you need to do. I mean, you can change it up a little bit.
It's just going to be mahjong then, probably. Oof, mahjong. We've just given up as a society.
Sudoku night. You want to do that?
Like Dominoes night. We used to be cool. Prince, that was cool.
And we're cooler with doing Prince nights?
I mean, now? I don't know. What do I care? Just no goat yoga night. I don't want anything to do with that. Let's break. 4:32. In just a minute, I do want to talk about the WNBA and what Cheryl Reeve really was saying about trans kids and trans athletes. You guys know that I hate when the AstroTurfers come in here and use our community as a prop. It happened again this weekend. But I think, actually, despite what you may believe Cheryl Reeve was saying, because you saw her shirt or you saw some social media nonsense, we're going to talk about what she really had to say when we come back.
This is Drive Time with DeRusha on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Are you feeling as good as you would like to feel? Are you sleeping well? Are you out of breath when you're walking around with your kids, your grandkids? It's Jason. And Livia is here to help. Livia's really changed my life. And they taught me that healthy eating doesn't necessarily mean giving up the foods that you love. Because, like I'm still out there trying restaurants, writing about restaurants, enjoying craft cocktails, enjoying moments with friends and with family. But Livia helped me lose 45 pounds. And more importantly, they helped me keep that weight off. Now, what Livia is doing today is taking a more holistic look at wellness. Because for me, like, they didn't just stick me in the program and put Jason in the little algorithm and here's what he does. It was about my needs, my goals, my journey. And they're doing that with you today. Personalized nutrition, yes. Medical weight loss, GLP-1 support, metabolic health services, healthy aging, and more. So whatever your goal is it losing weight? Is it improving your energy? Is it healthier habits? Or is it just about feeling optimized at your best? Livia has a plan for you. Get to the website. Explore more of what they have to offer. Livia is LIVEA.com.
Yeah, summer nights are made for Twins baseball. This is the stretch before the stretch run.
Out of here! Warnick with a 2-run homer. Twins on top, lead 2-1.
Hear every pitch on your flagship home for Twins baseball.
Breaking ball swung on a miss, and this one belongs to the Minnesota Twins.
News Talk 830 WCCO.
And Doug. Limu and I created a trick to help you remember that you can customize your car insurance and save with Liberty Mutual. You see, the shirts Limu and I wear are yellow, and yellow is the color of lemons. And lemons grow on trees, and trees provide oxygen. And oxygen helps us breathe, and breathing is how you live. And you can live more life when you save money by customizing your car insurance. I agree, Limu. It's really quite simple. Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty. Chanhassen Dinner Theaters brings you the goods with the hit of the summer, Guys and Dolls. You got your delicious dinner. You got your great show. Heck, you got free parking. Such a deal. Guys and Dolls, it's hilarious, romantic. Hit tunes like Luck Be a Lady and Sit Down, You're Rockin' the Boat. This is the high-rolling hit musical for the whole family. And it's your lucky day because I'm going to tell you how to score these tickets. Visit ChanhassenDT.com and you will hit the jackpot.
Well, it's official.
My friends have all switched to Pure Talk because I told them they could save a bunch of money on a super reliable high-speed network with unlimited data. And because they're my friends, they trust me. As for the rest of you, well, Pure Talk understands that even though you might like me, you're not just going to take my word for it, nor should you. For that reason, and for a very limited time, Pure Talk is offering any of their plans for just $15 a month for the first 3 months, including their top-tier unlimited plan that normally sells for $65 a month. Think of it like a test drive, a super simple way to save $150 while you kick the tires on Pure Talk's blazing fast network, and a fine way to see for yourself why I switched from big wireless, along with a few 100,000 of my closest friends. Dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe, and be connected to Pure Talk's friendly U.S. customer service team. Again, dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe, and let the savings begin.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is traffic and weather together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
Problems on the east side of the metro, traveling north 35E near Maryland Avenue. Got a crash off to the right side. Traffic is slow as you come up I-94. Traveling south 35E, that slows Victoria Street as you head down to Shepherd Road. 94 westbound continues to be a bit sluggish as you come in from Riverside to Lowry Hill Tunnel. And south 94 into the tunnel, that slows back at Plymouth Avenue. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Oh no, the lights are flickering, the drain is backing up, the water heater just went cold. When home problems interrupt your day, call Randy's Electric and Plumbing. Same-day repairs, licensed pros, and clear pricing before work begins. For those oh no moments, call Randy's Electric and Plumbing.
Now, the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
Randy's Electric bringing us Chief Meteorologist Chris Schaefer.
We'll have some scattered showers roll through while we sleep tonight, falling back to 67 and will stay breezy. It's a cold front that's passing. You'll love the air behind it. Mostly cloudy, less humid with a high around 78 tomorrow. Partly cloudy with a high of 81. Still not humid on Wednesday.
Right now, it is sunny. It is 87. Little breezy out there on CCO.
This is Drive Time with DeRusha on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Well, Fox News is freaking out about Cheryl Reeve right now. And this weekend, the circus came to town. WNBA has done this to itself to a certain degree. The debate was, as it has been for several weeks now, about trans people in sports. And I have said that my view on this is that we created divisions of sports for men and for women. And the goal in that was to create opportunities for girls and for women. And we have been proud and we have cheered as there are more and more opportunities for girls to move on and play professional sports or to work in the front office of these professional sports operations. It started with the WNBA, but we now in this community have a pre-professional women's soccer team that the Minnesota Aurora FC is laying the groundwork to move into the professional level. We have a professional women's football team. We have a professional women's hockey team. This is good. At the professional level, or the college level, or the high school level, there are stakes at play, right? Whether it's Olympic medals, whether it's jobs. We created these spaces to have a space for girls and women to compete. And so allowing people who were born as men and have transitioned into being women, for me, and there are exceptions, right? You have people who maybe were born in a more ambiguous, but like, we don't have to get down into every little, well, what about, like in general, I think girls should play girls sports. And if you transition, part of that choice is that you don't get to compete as a girl. For me, that's my view on this. Cheryl Reeve being attacked around the country and saying that, I don't like the way that Cheryl Reeve is being portrayed, and I don't like the way that Sophie Cunningham is being portrayed. Articles about Sophie Cunningham, who is the Indiana Fever player, who was in town as the Lynx just walloped the Fever. Wow, the Fever came back in the fourth quarter, but it was a great, great game between the Lynx and the Fever yesterday. But Sophie Cunningham has been vocal about her belief that trans women should not be playing in women's sports. And I don't think that is a very uncommon belief, in fact. Her view is portrayed as anti-trans. Cheryl Reeve wore a T-shirt that said, "Trans kids belong." What I would like to do is play some of the comments that Cheryl Reeve made, because I feel like Cheryl Reeve and I are more aligned than not on this issue. And based on what I just said, you might think like, oh, Jason and Cheryl are in total different areas. So the first point from Cheryl Reeve is my main issue with most of the people who are activists on this thing. And in general, I think most of the activists are using this as a political issue, and they are leading with hate, not leading with love. And I believe that you can build lines and you can say, no, I want people who are born as girls to be able to play women's sports, period. And I believe we should not be making life miserable and villainizing people who are already going through a tough time. Here's the first thing Cheryl had to say.
We need to protect trans kids. Every kid. To me, it's a human rights issue. Every kid has a right to sports, regardless of gender diverse, transgender. Every kid has the right to access.
And I think that's right. And the reality is, how do we create those spaces? I think that should be part of the conversation. If you're talking about recreational sports, non-like varsity, non-college scholarship line, to me, who cares? Who cares? Why are we fighting about this? Who cares? Let kids be active. Let's let kids make friends. Let's let kids fail. This is the part of what Cheryl Reeve said that I think more of us could use a little bit of time thinking about.
What gets nuanced is, when you're beyond puberty, when you're an Olympic sport, when we have scholarships at state and that sort of thing. That's where I say that common sense people get together and you find common ground to find a way to be inclusive.
Whoa, is that possible? Acknowledging that there is some nuance to this, and it doesn't make you anti-trans if you say, look, we got to protect the pathway for women to have women's sports. And yes, trans women are women. And also we know that it's a different circumstance. It's different. And so to act like, oh, well, trans women are women, so that's that. No, I think it's more complicated than that. The question is there an interest in digging into the nuance? Not based on the circus we saw this weekend with protesters and Michelle Tafoya throwing her like, oh, somebody to cheer for in the WNBA, Sophie Cunningham. You're like, first of all, you're running for U.S. Senate in Minnesota. How about cheer for Olivia Miles, okay? How about cheer for Nafisa Collier? Why do we have to make everything political? But I was heartened when I saw Cheryl Reeve and Sophie Cunningham having a conversation at half court before the game yesterday. And it is a reminder that this sort of dogmatic approach that you're either you're either 1,000% pro trans rights or you're a bigot is not a helpful way to get to any sort of common sense, common ground on this. And Cheryl Reeve, who wore a T-shirt that said trans kids belong also had a conversation with Sophie Cunningham. Now, she didn't want to characterize exactly what they said, but they had a conversation. Here's what Cheryl said about it.
I think both of us understand that we have platforms, and, we both talked about, wanting to, more than anything, educate. And there are some things that, we have in common and maybe some things you differ on, just like any issues. And I think it's how you handle things. And so, it was nice to be in person for sure.
Yeah, I think we can have conversations about these things. And in my opinion on this might change someday, right? Like as the world changes or as science changes or as we figure out other ways to do it. I don't know. I think people want to make it too black and white. It's complicated. I think it's really complicated. But I would feel more interested in the, protect women activists if they also shared a little bit of compassion and empathy for people who are going through their own sort of crisis and challenges and trying to figure out how to live their best way in this world. A lot of this stuff is very confusing to me. I'm going to be honest with you. And they're people, man. They're people. And you can give some love, but we just don't need to be so, and I think the left has been so like, trans rights are human rights. If you have any nuance or any hesitancy on it, you are a bigot. And you might be. You might be, but you might not.
Based on my Twitter mentions, plenty of them are.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. Like the most dedicated to the issue.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of question about what your motivation is. And you can't just let the fact that the loudest voices are bigots, because we also saw on the left, the protesters like holding just vile names. And like, that doesn't make me dismiss everybody on the left or dismiss the argument.
That's just it. And you used the term that I was going to use, which is the loudest voices. And because there's loud voices on both sides that are just have absolutely no desire whatsoever to have the kind of nuanced conversation that Cheryl was talking about. It's all one way or all the other, and there is no gray area at all in this issue. And that's what's most disappointing to me is how many people seem to slide into those camps instead of saying, how do we move together forward as a society and figure out how we're going to be compassionate and helpful and encouraging of one another, and say, no, we need certain boundaries and certain lines in certain spaces. People don't seem to want to have that conversation. And that's what, honestly, and you could say that about a whole host of issues.
Yeah.
That's what concerns me most about the society we're in right now, is that everybody wants the absolute, and you have to be with me 100%. And if you vary at all, you're a horrible person. If you're somebody that wants to take care of trans kids, well, you must hate women. Or if you're somebody who thinks that, women's sports should be for, biological females only, well, you hate trans people and you're a bigot. And there's no I love just the visual. I don't even know, like you said, we don't know what we said, but the visual of Sophie and Cheryl having this conversation, I thought, to me, spoke louder. And that's part of the reason we wanted to talk about it. Those are the voices that need amplification, not these idiots on the margins.
You're welcome to weigh in at 651-461-9226. I'll share some of the smart things that you guys have to say when we come back.
Drive Time with DeRusha. Tuned up and rolling. Thanks to Luther Kia of Bloomington.
Jason here from my friends at Tureen Dermatology. Dr. Mohiba Tureen is my dermatologist. I absolutely love her. And Tureen has 12 locations all over the Twin Cities. So you can get in as a new patient within 3 weeks. How cool is that? Now, I want to talk to you a little bit about hair loss, because August is Hair Loss Awareness Month. And I, Jason DeRusha, know a thing or two about hair loss. A lot of people don't think about talking to their dermatologist about it, but if you notice I don't know, maybe like a little bit more hair in the shower drain or some thinning. Now is the time to take action. We know that millions of Americans are affected by hair loss. The earlier it's evaluated and treated, the better the opportunity you have to preserve. You can regrow hair, but if you can hang on to what you have, you're winning. Terrene Dermatology, every hair restoration journey starts with an evaluation. They got board-certified dermatology providers. You will get a personalized treatment plan. And the truth is, like, I'm bringing my 18 and 21-year-old in to talk about strategy for them because they want to keep the hair they have, and they know their father. So they're trying to arm themselves as best they can. Platelet-rich plasma, PRP, they got it. Scalp hydrofacial, Keralaze using laser and a specialized growth factor serum. They got all sorts of options for you. But go get the conversation started. Reach out at Terrene, Tareen, dermatology.com.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer at a beverage manufacturing plant, he starts his day knowing every line is ready to run because Grainger delivers the industrial-grade products he needs to keep mixers, conveyors, and packaging equipment moving. With Grainger's vast selection of bearings, belts, and motors, he keeps operations running smoothly, so nothing grinds to a halt. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You've still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight illnesses like pneumococcal pneumonia and RSV. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and can help protect you from getting really sick. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. See more at PfizerForAll.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
The time to be outdoors is now. The weather is just lovely. It's Vanita here. Make your backyard a place you'll love spending time in with By the Yard's beautiful maintenance-free outdoor furniture built to withstand the elements and designed for comfortable outdoor living. It is so fantastic to sit and relax in By the Yard furniture. Visit a showroom today and experience it for yourself. By the Yard, life is better outdoors. Some houses are listed and sit on the market forever. The uncertainty of when your home will sell or if it will sell at all causes so much stress. If you're thinking of selling, call the John Schuster Group, Coldwell Banker Realty. The Good Neighbor Agent's marketing system helps him routinely sell homes fast and for the most money possible. He can even help you sell your home off market. Curious what your home is worth? Type in your address on johnschustergroup.com.
Buy a home, sell a home, we'll get you moving. JohnSchusterGroup.com.
Terms and conditions may apply.
Liberty Mutual customizes your car and home insurance. And now we're customizing this ad for your morning commute to wake you up, which could help your driving. Science says that stimulating the brain increases alertness. So here's a pop quiz. How many months have 28 days? What gets wetter as it dries? What has keys but can't open locks? If you don't want to hear the answers, turn off this Liberty Mutual ad now. 12 months, a towel, piano. Enjoy being fully alert.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is traffic and weather together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
We're still working North 35E, Maryland Avenue. The activity remains off to the right side. If you'll be traveling through the area, get ready for your slowdowns coming up from 94. South 35E, that's a slow ride as well. And that's basically your typical stuff these days. He's coming down from Roseland toward 94. Traveling along 35W southbound, that slows Diamond Lake Road into the Crosstown Commons. 169 southbound beginning to gum up between Anderson Lakes Parkway and Old Shakopee Road. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Launchpad Golf, the Meadows in Prior Lake is your family and friends hangout. Chef-driven menu, in-range shot tracking tech, and golf every weekday with the Summer Players Card for one payment of just $199. Book your suite tonight at launchpadgolf.com.
Now, the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
Launchpad Golf in Prior Lake bringing us the weather forecast tonight. Scattered showers possible, low of 67. Tomorrow, the high will be 78. Great day tomorrow. Right now, it's warmer than that, 87 on CCO.
You're listening to Drive Time with DeRusha.
Fundamentally, a non-traditional approach to talking about, learning about, and exploring the day's news.
On News Talk 830 WCCO.
Continental Diamond time check is 4:56 on the button right now. Time to get to ContinentalDiamond.com. Check out their pre-owned watch inventory. Dan, the Twins making one deal, the deal they were hoping for.
We had a deal. Obviously, we talked earlier, they'd added a reliever and a starter over the last few days. They've added another reliever now, making a deal with the Toronto Blue Jays for Jeff Hoffman. He's coming to Minnesota in exchange for, I believe, 3 minor leaguers, pitchers Dasan Hill, John Klein, and minor league infielder DeMurray Pena. Twins are taking on the remainder of his salary this year, but he's also under control for 2027, and the Blue Jays are picking up a portion of that salary. Hoffman is 6-7 on the year. He's got an ERA of 3.94. What did I see? 75 strikeouts, 18 walks. So far in his relief role. So sort of a 7th and 8th inning guy for the Blue Jays, obviously, who have Louis Varland, who we're all familiar with, closing games for him. He comes to Minnesota, presumably to act in that same kind of role. The Twins are pretty good 8th and 9th inning. It's that kind of mid
the setup
6-7 role that we need some help with, and that's where Hoffman figures to fix in. So this is exactly the kind of deal you were expecting from the Twins right before the trade deadline, which ends in less than 3 minutes.
All right. Big name so far, still a part of the team. Larnach still a part of the team as well. And all those catchers. We still have all of those catchers, don't we? We'll see what shakes is what we learn in the next couple of minutes. News is straight ahead right here on CC.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back for buying gas. That's right. You can earn cash back with Upside just for buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside, and just last year, I made nearly $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get cash back? If you like extra cash, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back when you fill your tank. Use promo code FRESH to get an extra 35 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime, right to your bank or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code FRESH for a 35 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code FRESH for a 35 cents per gallon bonus.
You know when your air conditioner chooses the hottest day of the year to quit? Yeah, that's exactly what a proper tune-up helps prevent. At Metro Heating and Cooling, our complete professional AC tune-up is just $109 because we do more than the bargain guys. We inspect the system, test performance, clean critical components, and catch small problems before they turn into expensive breakdowns. So before the heat really hits, protect your comfort, your wallet, and your family. Call 214-304-7658 now and schedule your 109 AC tune-up with Metro Heating and Cooling. Done right the first time, so you stay cool all summer long.
Let's make this summer your best summer ever. Jason here for Luther Kia of Bloomington, and Luther Kia Bloomington wants to upgrade your ride. Outstanding prices. $399 a month sign and drive lease offers on Seltos, Sportage, Nero, and K5. Get out of here. Plus $750 owner loyalty cash on the stunning Kia Telluride and the Telluride Hybrid. Best cars for the money on the market. Check out their brand new facility, now open at 35W and 494. Luther Kia of Bloomington.com.
At Wealth Enhancement, we believe wealth is in the details. Our team of trusted advisors craft personalized solutions to help you achieve your financial goals. Tune in to the Your Money Show on News Talk 830 WCCO every Sunday from 8 to 9 a.m. or go to wealthenhancement.com to connect with one of our advisors.
News Talk 830 WCCO, Minneapolis, St. Paul.
From ABC News, I'm Chuck Sievertson. A brief reprieve may allow firefighters in Washington state a chance to get control of wildfires that have burned down homes in and around Spokane over the weekend. In Spokane, ABC's Alex Stone.
The good news is you can tell there's no wind, very different than Saturday when it was 50, 60 mile an hour winds. Humidity levels have gone up, the temperatures have come down, and the wind is gone. There is a window until about Thursday that firefighters say they have here to try to gain some containment around these flames. Right now, they don't have any containment, and they are working it.
President Trump sounding like he's giving Iran one last chance to sign a deal with the U.S.
I want to give them every last chance before decapitation.
very tough to do what we have planned.
On talks with Iran about the Strait of Hormuz.
We're talking about the strait, the opening of the strait, having it open literally by tomorrow, completely open.
President's company, Trump Media, launching a new feature critics call an example of corruption. A president making money off of his office, selling instant access to Trump's social media posts that can move markets. Designed for big financial firms that could make millions from having Trump's announcements faster than competitors. This ramped up bank hassle involving Trump. And how many bank accounts?
Trump's company sued Capital One last year for allegedly closing nearly 400 bank accounts associated with Trump for political reasons. As part of the bank's push to have the case thrown out, Capital One is now arguing that the accounts were closed after a months-long review by its anti-money laundering team, not for political reasons as alleged by the president and his family.
ABC's Peter Haralambos says that the Trump organization accuses Capital One of focusing on a handful of isolated transactions for political purposes. Crude oil prices closed lower. Wall Street's major indexes closed sharply higher. The Dow adding 693 points, the NASDAQ gaining 540. You're listening to ABC News.
Minnesota's trusted voice every hour. Let's get you caught up with what's happening now on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Sunny and 87 degrees at 5:02. Good afternoon. I'm Mark Fry. A notable first court appearance for Vance Belter, who is now facing state charges for shooting and killing Melissa Hortman and her husband Mark, and shooting and wounding State Senator John Hoffman and his wife Yvette.
Vance Belter appeared in person in a Hennepin County court where bail remains at $5 million. State prosecutors want Belter to be moved to Hennepin County Jail, while his public defender wants him to remain in Sherburne County. Before the proceedings ended, Belter spoke, asking the judge some questions. Twin Cities defense attorney Joe Tamburino on that move.
Every time you're in court, any attorney will say to their client, do not say anything unless I tell you to say something, or if I tell you, look, the judge is going to ask you some question, that's fine to answer. But don't just go off on your own.
His next court appearance is set for September 2nd. Susie Jones, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Highway 169 back open this afternoon following an early morning crash that left one person dead. The Minnesota State Patrol says a wrong-way driver was killed when their vehicle hit a semi-trailer. Then it was hit by another vehicle around 8 this morning on Highway 169 near Fuller Street. No one was inside the other vehicles. No one inside the other vehicles was hurt. The crash followed a serious crash yesterday afternoon that left a Minnesota State trooper and another driver seriously injured on I-35 near 220th Street in Forest Lake. Investigators believe that the car that hit the state trooper may have had an intoxicated driver. The eastern side of the Boundary Waters Canoe Area Wilderness is opening up tomorrow for campers, but the U.S. Forest Service says anyone who plans to visit should be self-sufficient, have a travel plan in place, and know weather forecasts and fire conditions. While traveling with multiple means of communication, Drew Stroberg is an acting supervisor of the Superior National Forest, says they're asking people with fall permits to consider giving them up.
You know, there's a good number of people that had permits during that time that were unable to come up on trips that may be able to come up in the fall, but there are no permits available.
And he says this has been a devastating time for businesses in the area.
They make 90+%. Most of them make 90+% of their income in July and August.
And there's an Ely Wildfire Recovery Fund for people wanting to help out. More than 36 Minnesota airports are receiving grants from the Minnesota Department of Transportation to help with safety upgrades. MNDOT's Office of Aeronautics Director Ryan Gogg says a total of $8 million will help some airports that are not eligible for federal funding.
Providing a grant like this is a big boost in that economy, and it keeps these little economic engines that are the airports, keeps them running because they are the basis for businesses on the airport as well as businesses that need the airport to get access to markets and other business functions all around the state.
It's 5:05, traffic and weather next.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is traffic and weather together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
Crash has been cleared north 35 via Maryland Avenue. Still the slowdowns have come up from 94, and still the slowdown southbound as well. Roseland as you head into St. Paul. If you're going to be traveling out on the west side of the metro, some slowing south 169 over 394, 494 northbound. Some slowing in midway between Highway 7 and Carlson Parkway. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
B&M Tree Services, certified arborists offering tree trimming, storm cleanup, and full tree removal with professional service at prices you can afford. Call 1-800-569-9034 or visit bnmtree.com. Trusted, professional, reliable.
Now, the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
Brought to you by B&M Tree Service. And here's WCCO TV Chief Meteorologist Chris Schaefer.
It stays warm and windy tonight. We'll have some scattered showers rolling through while we sleep. 67 the overnight low. Mostly cloudy tomorrow, notably less humid. It's going to be comfortable with a high of 78. Partly cloudy and 81 on Wednesday.
Sunny and 87 at News Talk 830 WCCO.
You can hear about the story anywhere, but there's only one place where you get to talk about it. News Talk 830 WCCO. He knows news. He knows talk. He knows nonsense, too. So get ready for a lot of each. This is Drive Time with DeRusha, fueled by Luther Kia of Bloomington. Once again, here's Jason DeRusha.
I am so glad that Dan Cook is with us today. I didn't know what was going to happen with him being up to his eyeballs in SummerSlam this weekend. Dan, you made it. You made it.
It's a lot of peopling.
It's a lot
of people.
How tired are you after 2 nights of being surrounded by people?
It was a lot. It was a lot. But I really enjoyed the shows. I was glad I went. I was a little hesitant, as we talked about, going into them. But it was a lot of fun. Really, really enjoyed it. Going to need a weekend from my weekend, but that's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine.
I will say it was fun having all the wrestling fans in town. It was fun watching like the moms and dads with their kids going to the fan fest. And this kind of thing is a big deal for Minneapolis when you can have, I don't know what there were at US Bank Stadium, 30, 35,000 people, 40,000, whatever.
Yeah, it was more to the 30, 35 number, yeah.
So you get 60. So if you get 60,000 people here, do you think the Minnesota sports people will say they have 1.8 million people
I mean,
here,
usually about triple it.
generating
And then,
$4 bazillion in economic
Mhm,
activity this weekend? Yeah, real good. Well, it's wrestling. It's all supersized, right?
You know, it's about the entertainment. It's a little over the top.
Little drama. Did our hometown people win anything?
One did. Chad Gable won the Intercontinental Championship. Got to have a nice moment in the ring with his family. Mom and dad, wife and kids were all there. It was fun. But our gal Tiffany Stratton.
It was not Tiffy time.
It was not Tiffy time during the women's ladder match for the interim women's championship. So that went to Chelsea Green, who's Canadian. So maybe she's kind of one of us, a Jace.
Well, what part of Canada is she from?
That's a great question.
She's from Victoria. That's pretty close.
You know, why not?
Have you ever been to Canada, Dan?
I have not. Would love to go, but I have not.
I would say Victoria is out. Well, Victoria is nowhere near us.
I was going to say, isn't that
That's
British
out near
Columbia?
Vancouver. Yeah, don't.
But if we keep calling
What a-
Canada
what
the
a-
51st state, so doesn't that just encompass everybody?
Is that what you're encouraging? Is that you
No,
want?
I'm just counting Chelsea as one of us because she won the ladder match.
All
so.
right, fair enough. I don't even know. I don't know what a ladder match is. Is it like you?
It's a match where instead of winning by pinning your opponent or getting them in a submission move, there is a title hanging above the ring, and you have to climb the ladder and go
get it.
remove the title from the hook that it's hanging on. But meanwhile, the other 4 people in the match are all trying to beat the stuff out of you.
Yeah.
With ladders and all kinds of crazy bumps and things going on. So
It's kind of fun.
Yeah.
All right.
It wasn't quite as hammy as the human monies on a pole match.
What? That's a thing?
It was a thing on Sunday.
Come on.
So there's this character, Danhausen, who's a comedy character, right? Wrestling's always had comedy characters.
Right.
And you talk about seeing families and kids. The number of kids with their faces painted like Danhausen was off the charts this weekend. So he's battling Dominic Mysterio, son of legendary Rey Mysterio, over some money that Dominic had given him but wanted back. I mean, it's this whole nonsense story, right? But essentially, they had a bag with a big $ written on the bag hanging from a pole in one of the corners of the ring. And whoever could disable their opponent enough to be able to climb the corner of the ring and take the bag off the pole.
The bag o' money.
Gets to keep the money and then wins the match. That's the and Danhausen uses this when he's talking about money from other people. He calls it human monies because he's apparently supposed to be a vampire or a demon or something silly.
It's pretty great.
He's very popular. He's very popular. I don't know that even as a wrestling fan, I'm not sure I entirely understand it, but God bless him.
I mean, I like a gimmick. You know, I'm a fan. Have you ever seen Slippery Stairs? Have you seen Slippery Stairs?
I have not, no.
Slippery Stairs is on ESPN, The Ocho, and it's basically like a water slide. Essentially, they lube it up. I don't know, but you have all these competitors trying to climb the thing. And everyone's trying to tear the other person down.
Yeah, it's a lot. Both ladder matches and the human monies on a pole match were very much like that.
In that
just
theme.
without the lube involved. But
Yeah. Well, that we know.
Well, as far
I don't
as
know.
we know.
I don't know about
Yeah,
the pole of money. It's none of my business.
They do water down their hair at times. Maybe there's some oil in there. I don't know. It was a fun weekend.
It's good.
If lots of passionate wrestling fans were there. They got there. I don't know anybody that came out of there that was like that wasn't money well spent. I wish there would have been more people there. I wish Minnesota would have showed up and showed out a little bit more. But it was fun. I had a blast. It wasn't insanely expensive. It was everything and I told you this when we were texting over the weekend.
Right.
It exceeded the expectations, which I generally had as fairly middling level. But it exceeded them by far. So I had a great time.
Just a quick update on the Minnesota Twins because we just hit the trade deadline about 12 minutes ago. The core group appears to be intact. So Trevor Larnach was not traded. We didn't get Skubal. The Dodgers got Skubal. We'll talk with Dave Schwartz about that in just a minute. But we picked up a couple of arms, which the Twins were trying to do. We got a late inning right-handed reliever, which the Twins were seeking.
Yep.
And we didn't have to give up, at least as far as we know. Sometimes the news of these trades will come out over the next hour, but we didn't have to give up Larnach, Jeffers, any of the
none of the names on the
who are
major league
worried.
roster, and none of the obviously none
No
of the top,
major prospects.
top prospects. Obviously right now St. Paul and AAA is pretty stacked with Minnesota's top prospects. None of those are going anywhere. Our guy Dan Hayes from The Athletic tweeted out as of 6 minutes ago that the Twins say pencils down, they're done.
Okay.
So like you said, there's sometimes that trades take a while to matriculate through the system, and you still post 5 o'clock will hear some things. Not from the Twins, according to Dan Hayes.
All right,
we're done. That's what we got. Which is about, I think, what most people who were legitimately, objectively looking at this team expected. Maybe a starting pitcher, a couple of relievers. That's
right.
You weren't going to go with big names. You weren't going to go high price. There wasn't going to be wild and crazy deals like there were last year. But they did add an attempt to push this team to see, in a very winnable division, in a very, open field of playoffs in the American League. You wanted to add a couple of pieces, try to give you a little bit of a shove, and that's what they did.
I think I may have had it wrong when it comes to screens in classrooms and phones in schools. New information starting to come to light that's challenging some of the conventional wisdom. I think we've been too hard on cell phones and we've been blaming screens for everything. And I don't think that's the problem. We'll talk about that. I welcome your feedback because the early results on schools banning cell phones doesn't seem to matter when it comes to attendance, when it comes to test scores. That ain't the problem. Are we being too hard on screens? I think yes. 651-461-9226. Drive Time back in just a minute.
Drive Time with DeRusha is fueled by Luther Kia of Bloomington. Always online at lutherkiaofbloomington.com.
For the ones who get it done, Grainger offers the professional-grade products you need to get the job done. with fast delivery you can depend on and access to technical product experts ready to help you meet any challenge. Call clickgranger.com or just stop by.
Shiver me timbers.
You're in a nautical mood.
It's always smooth sailing in the trades. Borofka's easy breezy trade-in policy.
$100 off anything $2,000 or more. Upgrade and save at the same time.
Lower the boom and make some room for new furniture at Borofka's.
Oh, Jim. Borofka's. No gimmicks, haggling, or hard to understand pricing. In Woodbury and Burnsville. Borofka's.
Decidedly smooth sailing.
I'm here with Alex Sherrod, a top mergers and acquisitions attorney with Helmuth & Johnson. Alec, Minnesota laws can be complex. How do you make sure you're on the right path?
At Helmuth & Johnson, we help businesses and individuals navigate Minnesota's laws with clarity and confidence. We understand how Minnesota's laws and courts work, and we guide you every step of the way.
So it's not just knowing the law, it's knowing Minnesota.
Exactly. Practical advice, local experience, real solutions.
If you're looking to buy or sell a business, go to hjlawfirm.com. Helmuth & Johnson, on your side, at your side.
This is the story of the one who keeps multiple buildings running smoothly day after day. Plumbing that flows, HVAC that hums, cleaning supplies that keep surfaces sparkling. That's why she counts on Grainger. With easy reordering online and 24/7 support, Grainger helps her keep the products she needs on hand. So shelves stay stocked and buildings stay ready. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey, Mom, now that I have an after-school job, I think I want to buy a drum kit.
Okay, Rockstar. Let's look at your account.
When kids start making money, Chase has easy-to-use tools and expert bankers to help them learn how to manage it.
And next month, I'll buy the bass drum and the cymbals. Oh, and maybe some noise-canceling headphones for you.
Aw, you've thought of everything.
Help kids save, budget, and build financial independence, all with Chase. That's good for kids and good for parents. Visit your local Chase branch and get started.
Account subject to approval. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
Your daily detour into sharper conversation. Drive Time with DeRusha on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Made so much sense, didn't it? Test scores haven't been good. Kids are on their phone all day long at school, not paying attention. Seems obvious, ban the phone. We've seen it in Minnesota. School districts around the state have been limiting cell phones in school. And the question I wondered about is, would it matter? Would it matter? There's actually good data on this because a number of schools, more than 5,000 schools around the country, have made kids take phones and put them in those lockable pouches. You know, sometimes you go to a concert and you have to put your phone in the pouch. You can't unlock it till the end of the school day. So you have great data on before and after. Doesn't matter. Does not matter. This study that the National Bureau of Economic Research conducted using researchers from Duke, Stanford, University of Michigan, and the University of Pennsylvania took a look at, all right, like, is there less bullying? Are test scores going up? Is attendance going up? Because kids maybe feel better about the school environment because they're not being bullied on the phone. Zero impact. For academic achievement, average effect on test scores are consistently close to zero. They found little evidence that the policies affect attendance, perceived online bullying, or attention in class. Are we blaming the schools and blaming the screens too much? 651-461-9226. As long as the kid is passing their grades and all development goal, who cares how long they're staring at a screen, says a texter. The TV is going to rot your brain. People need to stop. Now, another texter says without phones, the kids can communicate with each other instead of looking at their phones. My gut on this says that kids who are taught by their parents that school matters, that achievement matters, that studying matters, that grades matter, are able to navigate having a phone, and that kids who are not taught that all of this stuff is important, well, then you have something else to blame. You can blame the phone instead of blaming the parenting. Because I think it's the parenting that makes the difference. Now, if I were a teacher, what I would most want is a clear policy. And I think that's my gut on this, and I welcome, if you're a teacher, I'd love to hear from you at 651-461-9226, because teachers like these policies because you know what teachers don't like doing? They don't like being the cell phone cop all day. So if the school has a policy that you're supposed to have your phone put away during instructional time, well, now the teacher has to enforce this rule, and that's annoying. So if you have a blanket policy where you lock up your phone, then teachers don't have to deal with that. But what the researchers found is that kids who are the kind of kids who are not going to follow the rules, the kind of kids who are going to get their phones out and be doing stuff on their phone, playing games, texting, watching videos, whatever. Guess what? When you take the phones away, the kids just do other rule breaking stuff. Like, it's not like you're going to wave a magic wand and all of a sudden, like, the jerkwad kids become good. Oh, you took the phone away. The phone is less of a problem, I think, than what we all wish it were. Greg is in Minnetonka. Greg, I was for sure a big advocate for banning phones in schools, and I think we do too much with screens and kids, but the data seems to indicate that it's not making much of a difference. What do you think?
Well, I can see, the darn things are used for bullying kids and that sort of thing. And and I think back to when my oldest daughter was younger and pagers were a big deal.
Right.
And then a status thing was to have not just a cheap pager, the more expensive pager. Now you can't have the Apple 11 something. You got to have the Apple 22e Platinum Plus Gold. Titanium, whatever.
Yeah.
And, then kids get looked on because they don't have the latest Apple, or they aren't wearing the clothes from Gap or Express, and all this status crap.
Yeah.
Independent of all the screen
It
time.
was like that for us, though, right? Like the kids who had the Jordans were like the cool kids, and I had like the imitation Jordans from Kohl's, like not so good. Like there's always been those sort of status things at school. Right?
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, but yeah. Anyway, that's my 2 cents.
Thanks, Greg. Appreciate it. Ron's in St. Paul. Ron, I'm a little surprised that the data indicates that test scores with the cell phone ban are the same as what they were 3 years prior to the cell phone ban.
Yeah, but that's only 3 years. I think you have to go a little bit out further than that. But
yeah,
I have an idea that's probably way too out there. So
it's my kind of idea. I like it. Let's
I'm not the
hear it.
best at explaining myself, but I think you need to get the cell phones out of kids where they have the free, I can get any information I want at any time of the day, which a lot of the information is type of information parents don't want them having.
Right.
And when they talk, like in Australia, where they're trying to ban cell phones for children, I think they just have to accept the fact that the children that have cell phones now are going to have them because they're basically a drug.
Yeah.
So if we take them away from them, they're going to revolt or something. I think they just pick out an age. They say 5 or 6 years old. At this age, at 2026, they don't get a cell phone till they're 12 years old, 14 years old, 15 years old, or 16. You know what I mean?
Right.
And they just bring up a whole generation of kids that aren't used to having that cell phone. And I'm not against the iPads in school because of the information, because they can program the information that's available. But I just think there's just too much bad that can come into your home through your kids' cell phones.
Yeah, I don't disagree with what you're saying. Thanks, Ron. I think
And I know.
Well,
I don't know if I totally agree with what I'm saying. So
no, I think part of the challenge, and you're right, like we maybe need to see like a longitudinal study of some kid who never had the device in the school environment. I think the thesis was if you remove the distraction of the phone, kids would be able to listen more to the teacher. And so they would pay more attention and test scores would go up. But school is more complicated than that. And I think parents wanted so desperately to believe that it was the phone's fault. And really, some of it is maybe our fault as parents. Are we spending enough time with our kids working on academics? Some of the questions, maybe the way we're teaching stuff. Is the way we're teaching math or the way we're teaching reading effective? I think we've seen a return more to some of the old school methods being proven more effective there. It's just my point in raising this is not to say the flip that we should have phones in school. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is that it's not the evil cause of all problems that I think a lot of us wanted it to be. I think we wanted this to be the fix. Oh, if you just ban it, now you're cooking. But at least in this study is the schools that have the strictest policy, the lock it up policy. It's not the school. Like my kids, when they were at Maple Grove High School, they had a no cell phone policy, but you were allowed to have it in passing periods. Like you just weren't allowed to have it out in the classroom. You didn't have to lock it up. Well, if you had no positive impact in the lock it up schools, it's harder to measure in the schools where, you have some sort of hybrid policy. But one would guess that the results would be the same. In fact, if my thesis is right, the results would be literally the same. Like it wouldn't be worse if you have a more permissive atmosphere. Now, one texter asking who paid for the research, a good question. As far as I can tell, the research was done by the National Bureau of Economic Research, which is a nonprofit. So from looking at the study, and this thing is 100 pages, I only read about 20 pages of it. But as far as I can tell, there's no like industry money or anything like that. Very fair question. Why hasn't there been a study that shows the difference in academic achievement for those students who have engaged parents who care, who actually show the importance of their children compared to the parents who could care less? I'm guessing there is that research is out there. Texter, I still think kids are getting way too much screen time outside of schools. It's certainly a negative on their development and their well-being. I think you're right, but I don't know. I don't know. I think like most things, there are some kids who can handle it and there are some kids who cannot. It's the same stuff with like bullying. There's some kids who can handle it and there's some kids who cannot. My view from all I've read is that kids who are more at risk, whether it's, mental health challenges, whether it's learning challenges, if you have more challenges, the constant stimulation of cell phones makes that just much worse. Obviously, we see plenty of kids who are fine. I think we just wanted this, right? We wanted it to be good. And I'm not saying like I'm done. This one study lets me know we're good to go. But it just goes to show how difficult this stuff is, right? To me, as parents, if you're, and I know a lot of people who are sort of older millennials who have kids in this age range, and these parents are obsessed with screen time right now. The Anxious Generation book came out. Jonathan Haidt wrote that book. It has become a Bible for a generation of parents. And the idea is like, well, if you could just keep kids off the phone or get them those watches that just, well, there are other problems. There are other problems. Texts say, ban all cell phones for anyone younger than 17. Keep all kids locked behind bars until they're 15. Texter, I worked at a high school that didn't allow phones teaching choir. And the texter says, the other schools, students were on their phones. My kids who weren't allowed phones were chatting, playing games, swing dancing during breaks. My students said the other kids looked sad. So this research didn't find any real evidence that like kids reported more bullying. But when it comes to like your vibes, I do think that is worth studying, right? So would you be satisfied with a cell phone ban if it didn't improve academic performance at all, but it did improve like students' outcomes or outlook or attitude? I think that would be a win. I'm not saying we shouldn't be doing this, but what I am saying is it's not the fix to the academics. It's not the fix to the test score that we were hoping it would be. Let's break. Dave Schwartz is going to join us in just a minute. We will talk about this growing discussion that the Dodgers hoovering up the biggest name in this trade deadline moment, Tariq Skubal. Is this sort of the beginning of the end? Is this the sign? Yep, there's going to be a work stoppage. We need a new way of doing things in baseball. We'll talk to Dave about that in just a minute. Drive Time continuing on this Monday on CCO.
Drive Time with DeRusha on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Time now for today's Spotlight on Tech, sponsored by University of Maryland Global Campus.
Amazon plans to ramp up its satellite system as it looks to take on Starlink. Amazon LEO will deploy more than 5,000 low Earth orbit satellites starting in 2028 to deliver voice, data messaging, and emergency services to smartphones and mobile devices. SpaceX-owned Starlink has nearly 11,000 low Earth orbit satellites compared to Amazon LEO with around 400. I'm Jason Brooks.
Earn an accredited MBA in as few as 16 months for about $21K at University of Maryland Global Campus. Explore 10 specializations, including finance, HR, cyber technology, and more. Plus, showcase the value of your MBA with a comprehensive learner record and digitally demonstrate in-demand skills and credentials to employers. Apply now and save with no application fee. Classes start August 12th. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
Jason here for the oh no moment. You know those moments. We've all been there. Maybe you got a drain in maybe it's your kitchen sink or your bathroom sink, that drain that's gurgling that shouldn't be gurgling, that drip, drip, drip under the sink. You're like, what is that sound? Or maybe it's the sound of like an electrical outlet that you know. Yeah. Oh, gosh. Just trying to plug in the pizza oven. You immediately think, oh no, because you know it's going to be a pain in the neck. It's going to be expensive. I'm going to have to find some. As soon as you think, oh no, I want you to think, call Randy's. Randy's Electric and Plumbing is ready to respond immediately. For more than 20 years, they've been getting it done all over the Twin Cities. They help you handle the stressful stuff. So yes, when you're zapping your finger in the outlet, they got the electrical repairs. It's very nice. They're going to fix whatever you need. You need an EV charger. You got a new car. Maybe you got a water heater that doesn't work, or a water softener or filtration system. They got you covered. Licensed pros with Randy's. They show up on time. They explain your options clearly. They give you honest pricing before you start. Same-day repairs are part of the equation. 2-hour arrival windows. Alerts when your tech is on the way. Randy's is awesome. I trust them 100%. You can trust them too. When oh no hits home, do not panic. Call Randy's.com. Call Randy's Electric and Plumbing.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is traffic and weather together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
And brought to you by Laguna, Minnesota. Visit buildthenorth.com, 35W northbound near Franklin Avenue. Got a crash working, activities off to the shoulders, but it is slow as you come up from before Lake Street. Shelving south 35W, slowdowns continue there, 106 down to Highway 13, 169 southbound. That's heavy and slow as you come in from 494 to 101. Attention motorists, Laguna, Minnesota wants you to slow down when driving in construction zones. You are now entering their work zone where they are building a better Minnesota for you. So please slow down when you see the orange cones and yellow vests and save lives. Brought to you by Laguna, Minnesota. Visit buildthenorth.com. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
All right, it's officially the most wonderful time of the year at Staples. They've got back-to-school supplies as low as 25 cents, up to 40% off select tech, 20% off for teachers, and more. Check out all the deals at staples.com/back-to-school. Staples, that was easy.
Now, the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
Forecast brought to you by Staples. Here is Chief Meteorologist Chris Schaefer.
We'll have some scattered showers roll through while we sleep tonight, falling back to 67 and will stay breezy. It's a cold front that's passing. You'll love the air behind it. Mostly cloudy, less humid with a high around 78 tomorrow. Partly cloudy with a high of 81. Still not humid on Wednesday.
Pretty nice summer day out there right now. 86 in Woodbury here on CCO.
You're listening to Drive Time with DeRusha.
I think that's a recipe for chaos.
On News Talk 830 WCCO. Now let's get a Monday rundown on the weekend in sports, where Dave brings the analysis and Jason brings the snacks.
Get your popcorn ready.
Time for some fun talking ball and other stuff with Dave Schwartz on Drive Time with DeRusha.
Dave Schwartz is with us. Obviously, we've been updating you on the Twins' moves throughout the show today. But, Dave, I wanted to ask you about sort of the big ticket trade item, and that is the LA Dodgers getting Tariq Skubal. Do you blame the Dodgers for this, or is this just the, don't hate the player, hate the game scenario?
I'm always the don't hate the player, hate the game. I mean, they have the money to spend. They're willing to do what it takes, and Skubal's an outstanding pitcher. They probably have one of, if not the highest payroll and certainly revenue of all the teams in Major League Baseball. And when you do that, then you can make those things. I mean, it comes down to the whole idea of being able to spend over the salary cap, which has been an issue with Major League Baseball for years. Why have a salary cap if you're going to allow teams to go over it and then get penalized? But if they want to pay it, they can. So I always fall back on the don't hate the player, hate the game. He can get the money, team's willing to do it, you do it.
Yeah, and you certainly, Skubal then goes back on the open market. This is what I think is frustrating to fans about the modern era of baseball. And look, individual players, you don't fault them for trying to get theirs, right? But you end up in this scenario with the trade deadline where somebody can rent a player for a couple of months and then they go back on the market again. And I don't know, it does change your relationship with the players and with the team a little bit, I think.
That's what free agency is, and that's why it's changed all sports since it
and college
since it
too.
became,
We have the same vibe in college now, which is a bummer.
Yeah. The only thing is that, like in professional sports, you know it. Like, Tariq Skubal's probably, maybe he will stay. Maybe they've talked about it a lot of times that these things, they happen behind the scenes. They say, hey, we're going to bring you in. If you like it, you can stay.
And they have the money, so maybe it works out. Yeah.
And maybe he does. But college, it's different. I don't know. For me, it's still always like when you say you're going to a college to play, like you're committing that you're going to be there for some time. And maybe that's just because this is still fresh and it's not, this is the new NIL era. To me, it seems it's still a little tougher to handle as a college sports fan. Okay, hey, you said you were going to go here and get your education and play sports. Maybe education is very secondary. And now a year later, you're going somewhere else. Like that's not how this is supposed to go yet.
Right.
And it just doesn't seem like it's the same. It's very transparent in professional sports. And in college, to me, it's still very mired in some secrecy.
Dave Schwartz is with us. I was watching the Lynx yesterday, and I mean, I'm not treading new ground here, but we are seeing something special with the rookie season of Olivia Miles. And this you may look at Minnesota pro athlete rookie campaigns. This is going to rank maybe the best.
And when you think about some of the players on that list, it's even more impressive. I mean, you're talking like the Maya Moores of the world, who was outstanding, and Olivia Miles' numbers are better. Nafisha Collier, and her numbers are on par with that. I mean, I think at this point, I was reading an article, I think it was today, that the last rookie to win Rookie of the Year was in like 2008. And I think it was Candace Parker. I mean, that's how far back this goes. And that's how historic of a season Olivia Miles is that she's very much right now in the conversation for MVP.
For MVP.
Not just Rookie of the Year,
right.
MVP. Sorry, I meant Rookie of the Year to win a Rookie to win MVP. I think you could make a case right now for her. And every time the game against Asia Wilson is going to be a big one. If she can really show out that she can do this, I think that's big. But I mean, she just had a great game against the Fever on national television, and
28 points. I mean, this is a rookie.
Yeah.
Obviously, people know what she can bring to the table. The defense is focusing on her, and it doesn't matter.
It comes down to the voters disbanding this idea that it has to be an established star to be the MVP.
Yeah.
Are you willing to say, okay, this Olivia Miles, this rookie, has had such an incredible season that she's far and away better than everyone else, that it's a disservice to the award to give it to someone else just for years of service. You have to get away from that mold. And if you can get voters away from that, I think if you look at the numbers of what Olivia Miles has done, she's made a pretty good case that she's the best player in the league this year.
Dave Schwartz is with us. Fans got their first chance to make up their mind on the Kyler Murray, J.J. McCarthy situation. Training camp open to fans in Eagan on Saturday. I do think the fallout from this is maybe going to be bigger than we're even talking about, assuming that Kyler Murray is going to be the guy. I mean, the signs are pointing to that. What do you do with a first round draft pick that you said was the franchise guy and then is now the backup? I don't know. Does a player recover from that?
It's hard to, and it's why you see really good players either never recover or take some time to. And I'll point to Sam Darnold. How many places was he considered a failed experiment before he finally put together a really good season? And sometimes it just takes a change of scenery. But I think that you are seeing a demise right now, which is really sad, because J.J. McCarthy had, he came in with all this fanfare. But remember, he was Kwesi's guy, and Kwesi's not there anymore. So there isn't that.
That's a good point.
Fearing to hang on to him because it's going to make me look bad that I drafted him and he didn't pan out. Kevin O'Connell didn't draft him. Teasley didn't draft him. The guy who drafted him isn't there, and all of a sudden now the assurance that you're going to have the time to develop is gone. And this is I don't think there's any way that this doesn't shake his confidence quite a bit. He has zero trade value at this point. And so he just kind of hangs around and hopes that a change of scenery in a couple of years maybe changes the trajectory of his career.
Yeah, I think about, look, if you're a regular person, right, and you get passed over for a promotion or something, well, you can kind of pick it up and recover. When you are an elite athlete, highly touted draft pick, realistically, you've never lost in your life. It's so
it's
weird
very rare
to think about that.
And that's why a lot of these athletes have so much trouble, because they've never faced adversity. The guys that have, forever until the end of time, Tom Brady will come up, right? But Tom Brady was never the guy. He always had to prove it, so he was used to proving it. And that's not J.J. McCarthy. He played well last year. And I'm not saying that he's never going to have an NFL career. I still think that J.J. McCarthy has some talent, and I'm not ready to say, well, he's going to be a career backup forever, or that he's even not going to do it here. But if indeed, in the way it's going, you look at the snaps, you look at, the numbers of camp, this is looking very much like Kyler Murray is emerging to the front. If that happens, now what happens to J.J. McCarthy? How does he come back in, barring an injury? maybe Kyler goes down. During the season, he comes in and leads them to victory, and it's away we go. But barring anything like that, if Kyler Murray has a great season and JJ just has to sit there and watch, I don't know how you recover from this, especially since, if Murray plays well, he's not going away anywhere anytime soon.
Right.
And so that means McCarthy has to.
Dave, I went to Minnesota United on Saturday night watching Minnesota United against San Diego. Allianz Field, awesome. So great. Every time I'm there, I sort of think back to watching Minnesota United at the National Sports Center in Blaine. And you're like, how does this team, right? You remember those days. I mean, it wasn't that long ago. And you're like, wow.
Well, I remember I took my kids and we were like running. They were running on the field.
Yes.
During the game. And now, Allianz Field is
it's
beautiful.
So cool.
It is a really great venue.
And it was a great environment, a great night, except for this. The game was 1-1. They had like a couple of minutes of stoppage time, and then it was over. They just stopped. What are we doing? What is this sport? I don't care for
detractors of soccer. That's the argument.
They just go. They just go out. You shake hands. You say, "Well, that was fun."
That's it.
I don't know. I was like, "This is very unsatisfying." Give me some penalty kicks or something. Give me the World Cup. Where's my extra time? I definitely have been messed up by the World Cup, where it's like, I want a conclusion here.
I have to be honest. I think soccer would benefit from having, like hockey goes to a shootout after overtime.
Fun.
Like, let's do a shootout. It's super
At least
exciting.
Give me overtime. We didn't even get overtime. They just stopped.
Skip the overtime. If you really want to think outside the box, you want to grab more fans. Go right to the shootout, because if you get a notification on your phone that says, hey, guess what? There's a shootout right now. You're going to watch it because it's instant action and goals.
True.
I'd watch it every time.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you. I think if we're going out of the box, let's design something even crazier, right? Like, how about like a pin the tail on the donkey type competition? Or we're playing.
If you miss the net, the goalie gets to come and punch you. Like, let's just really.
Yeah, let's really add a little dynamic to it. That's all I'm saying. All right, we'll see how that goes.
We're doing the work.
The beautiful game crowd. I don't think that's going to fly, but I had a great time. I did have a great time. It was very nice. Dave, thanks for doing this. Appreciate it. Talk to you next week.
You got it.
Dave Schwartz with us. Drive Time back in just a minute on CC.
This is Drive Time with DeRusha on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Is it a buyer's market or a seller's market? It's Jason here for my friend Kris Lindahl, who joined us earlier on the show today. And Kris said, no, it's neither. It's tough out there right now. More and more homes sitting on the MLS. Waiting. Price cut. You get an offer. You think things are going well, and then somebody backs out. Or somebody makes a million requests based on the home inspection. The headaches are why more and more Minnesotans are saying, you know what? This is your problem, Kris Lindahl. They go to KrisLindahl.com. Kris Lindahl Real Estate and the Guaranteed Cash Offer, the Big Red Check Club, is getting bigger and bigger and bigger because people are saying, I don't want to deal with it. I don't understand the market. I don't know the uncertainty that is around. We've seen mortgage rates going up again. It's just tough out there. Kris Lindahl will take all the stress, all the pressure. You can be at closing in 2 days if you want. Lots of ways to make this work for you. Ultimately, it's up to you. Kris Lindahl Real Estate will help you make that decision. Go to the website, no obligation. It's free. Get a free smart seller guide and then see if it makes sense for you. KrisLindahl.com. Terms and conditions may apply.
Everybody leaves too early. The movie.
Wait, where are you going? There's totally an after credit scene.
The concert.
Thank you, Twin Cities!
Want to beat the traffic?
Totally.
Please welcome our secret headliner.
The ball game.
Good call leaving early. Nothing ever happens in the ninth.
A walk-off grand slam! And everyone still in the stadium wins a free snowmobile!
Just keep walking.
Don't make the same mistake. Stay here for the rest of the conversation. Right after a couple of quick ads. You'll thank me later. News Talk 830 WCCO.
Liberty Mutual customizes your car and home insurance. And now we're customizing this rush hour ad to keep you calm, which could help your driving. And science says therapy is great for a healthy mindset. So enjoy this 14-second session on us. I think you've done everything right and absolutely nothing wrong. In fact, anything that hasn't gone your way could probably be blamed on your father not being emotionally available because his father wasn't emotionally available, and so on. And now that you're calm and healing, you're probably driving better too.
Liberty, 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 liberty. New Game Plus with Oxy makes your laundry smell incredible and fights stubborn smells, like the ones your dog Biscuit brought into your freshly made bed last night. But you washed that all away with Game, and now you're drifting asleep to the scent and sound of waves. Ah, nope, that's the dog licking your ear.
Biscuit.
It just might be our greatest scent ever, now with odor fighting power. New Game Plus with Oxy.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer at a beverage manufacturing plant, he starts his day knowing every line is ready to run because Grainger delivers the industrial-grade products he needs to keep mixers, conveyors, and packaging equipment moving. With Grainger's vast selection of bearings, belts, and motors, he keeps operations running smoothly, so nothing grinds to a halt. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Back to school starts now. Get long-lasting battery life on the Dell XPS laptop powered by Series 3 Intel Core so you can work from anywhere. Now starting at $699 with exclusive student pricing starting at $599. Complete your setup with savings on select monitors and must-have electronics and accessories. Limited time deals and free shipping on PCs and more await you at Dell.com/deals. That's Dell.com/deals.
Let's make this summer your best summer ever. Jason here for Luther Kia of Bloomington, and Luther Kia Bloomington wants to upgrade your ride. Outstanding prices, $399 a month, sign and drive lease offers on Seltos, Sportage, Nero, and K5. Get out of here. Plus $750 owner loyalty cash on the stunning Kia Telluride and the Telluride Hybrid. Best cars for the money on the market. Check out their brand new facility, now open at 35W and 494. Luther Kia of Bloomington.com.
What if everything you learned in history class was only half the story? I'm Dr. Herney Bott, host of Hidden History. Every Monday, I go where history gets mysterious. Vanished civilizations, doomsday prophecies, paranormal phenomena, and events that science still can't fully explain. On Hidden History, I treat these moments like open case files. Not myths, not superstition, just incomplete explanations waiting for a closer look. Listen to and follow Hidden History, available now wherever you get your podcasts.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is traffic and weather together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
Still working for 35W northbound as you make way toward Franklin Avenue. The activity off to the right side. You slow down as you come up from about the area of Lake Street. As you travel 394 eastbound, you got some slowing there as you move between Penn and downtown. South 169 congested, 494 to Old Shakopee Road. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
B&M Tree Services, certified arborists offering tree trimming, storm cleanup, and full tree removal with professional service at prices you can afford. Call 1-800-569-9034 or visit bnmtree.com. Trusted, professional, reliable.
Now, the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
B&M Tree Service bringing us the weather forecast tonight. Scattered showers possible in the overnight, so that may continue into the early morning. The low is 67. Tomorrow's going to be open the windows kind of situation, 78. Less humid. Wednesday, 81. Couple nice days on tap. Right now it is windy out there in 86.
Where curiosity hits the gas. Drive time with DeRusha on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Baby, filled up the gas tank today, 415. Remember when, like, Iran, it was all good? Like, we had it all set. We had, like, it was good to go. Now, we don't even know if there are talks or not. We can't even agree on the messaging as to whether or not the United States is having talks with Iran. I don't know, like, is this thing just going to go on forever?
Kind of feels that way, doesn't it?
I'll just say 415 was not nice. I saw 389 today. I saw mostly $4 a gallon. And
oil prices took a big drop on news of these supposed talks, but we've seen that roller coaster for the last 6-8 weeks at least. So
how long has this thing been going? 6 months?
February.
Now?
Do the math.
I don't want to do the math.
I don't either.
No, you do the math.
No, you.
Very annoying. Very annoying. This is in defense of just sitting at home. This is what I get for driving. Driving to Excelsior, driving to Stillwater this weekend. And we'd love if you'd check us out on social media. I posted some photos of what we're up to this weekend. And you can find those on Facebook. Just search Jason DeRusha. Also on Instagram and podcast. Right now it's 5:56. That's the Continental Diamond time check. But you missed us talking with Joe Tamburino about why the state of Minnesota is prosecuting the killer of Mark and Melissa Hortman. And you missed, I don't know, what else were we talking about? Oh, the highway you would fix, the worst highway spots all over Minnesota. And a chat we have with Kris Lindahl about the real estate market, too. So all of that available on podcast.
Quickly, also want to update folks again that are just tuning in. Of course, the trade deadline in Major League Baseball was at 5 o'clock. Henry will have a lot more on this coming up. But Twins finished making one more move. They made a couple of moves over the weekend for a starting pitcher and a relief pitcher. They made another move for a relief pitcher. Right-handed reliever Jeff Hoffman was a trade from the Toronto Blue Jays. That the last move the Twins made today. So they've made some moves to try to shore up the pitching, and so we'll see what happens as they head towards the postseason, hopefully.
Do you think fans are going to be happy with this? I mean, we wanted
I think
buyers.
Unless you're a real baseball nerd, I'm not sure you're really feeling one way or the other about it. Because
that's sort of where I am. These guys,
they'll be happy if the Twins win and make the postseason. I think that'll be the thing.
I mean, it certainly feels better than we felt a year ago when
it's in marked contrast.
10 players got shipped out.
But I also heard somebody suggest that the wounds from what happened last year are going to take years to heal. I'm not sure they're wrong.
I agree. Henry's next. See you tomorrow.
Hey, I just met you, and this is crazy, but here's my number, so call me maybe.
Well, it's official. My friends have all switched to Pure Talk because I told them they could save a bunch of money on a super reliable high-speed